Welcome to yet another Killbot and Gorgor Thach CD collection video. The last time I did one of these was in April of 2023 when I was celebrating having 1,000 CDs. Ever since then, I've collected close to 400 more. So, get yourself comfortable because we are going to be here for a while. Discogs tells me that the exact number of CD releases that I have cataloged is 1,388. These are my two CD towers. These are what I house everything on. They are $200 a piece on Amazon, and they are great if you collect a lot of media. So, if you like Blu-rays, if you like VHS tapes, if you like video games, these will hold a bunch of stuff. So, I am going to go through the box sets first, then I'm going to talk about what's on these towers, and I'm also going to talk about some CDs that I have gotten since I finished filming. Here are my box sets, as well as some special editions. I guess we can start with the Ministry Tracks box. This has not only the Wax Trax era Ministry stuff, but it also has Revco, Palehead, PTP, 1000 Homo DJs, and Acid Horse. A little over 100 songs on this box set. It comes with a nice book. It's pretty huge. It also comes with an LP, a live set from Chicago, 1982. Now, some versions of this box set had a misprint on one of the discs, so if you happened to keep the receipt for your purchase, you could have Cleopatra send you a replacement disc. So this is the original, the replacement's in there. There we go. One of my favorites is the Samhain box set. Samhain, my favorite Danzig project. This box set comes with the enamel pin that only came with the first 1,000 copies of the box set. And then, of course, next to that, we have the Misfits Coffin box set. This one comes with the Fiend Club pin. It's about 4 discs worth of awesome stuff. The box set itself is kind of a mess, but it is the only way that we were going to get a lot of Misfits stuff. The Life and Crimes of Alice Cooper. So this has some album tracks, but it also has some stuff before the Alice Cooper band was even a thing. It also has some movie stuff. It has some demos. It's a really cool box set to have. I paid about $30 for it. Here's The Doors, the complete studio recordings box set. In the late 90s, they came out with what is commonly referred to as the Cube box set. And a couple of years later, this came out, which is basically the Cube box set with different packaging. It says complete studio recordings, which means that it has everything that has Gem on it, but it does not have the albums that they made after Gem. And that's okay, because I don't really want to listen to that shit anyway. You know, people tend to have their favorite Doors box sets, which one's their favorite, which one they think sounds the best, and I think that this one sounds pretty awesome. Not to mention, Break On Through, they added in high on Break On Through when they say, "She gets high!" The end is also uncensored. Here's the Clash box set. In the early 2010s, they came out with this big giant box set, and this is the simplified version of it. So it comes with the studio albums. It doesn't come with any of the EPs or anything. For Sandinista, you have the album on 3 discs. For London Calling, you have the album on 2 discs. And for the first album, this is the track listing that's included. Because for the first Clash album, there are a couple different track listings. Then, of course, you have this stencil right here, which I have never used. I think I paid about $60 for this. Here are deluxe versions of Agaloc's first 2 albums, Pale Folklore and The Mantle. Agaloc are one of my favorite bands, and these special editions come in these cool hardcover books. Here's the hype sticker. They also come with second discs. They have rarities, demos, alternate versions, etc. Some of this stuff appeared on the demonstration archives, and of course we have an album release history right here. You get a long-form interview with the band. You get pictures from around the time, and you get some photos such as these. Very cool, very awesome to look at. And look at this. Oh yeah, who can't love looking at stuff like that? There are 2 versions of this Cure box set. There's the bigger one, and there's this slimmer one right here. But Join the Dots is a 4-disc set that has a whole bunch of B-sides and soundtrack stuff, as well as some rarities. And it also comes with this really cool booklet right here. I bought this brand new for $30, brand new and sealed. This is Tool's album, Fear Inoculum. This is the version that has the LED screen that plays a little video when it's charged up. It is not charged up, obviously, but yeah, I bought this the day it came out. Here is Tool's Salival box set, which is kind of a pain in the ass to find. Thankfully, a fan of the channel sent this to me in exchange for me doing a video on it, so thank you, Tom. This is the CD and DVD version. Of course, if you look hard enough at the booklet, you can see all sorts of typos. And while we are on the topic of things that were a pain in the ass to find, this right here is Faith in the Muse's final album from 2009, before they broke up. I paid about 60 bucks for this. Holy shit. So it comes with the CD, the DVD. It also comes with some really cool artwork. Love me some Faith in the Muse. Here is Rammstein's self-titled album. I bought this because it was actually cheaper than buying the standard version. The disc, of course, is right here. Here we have the Mighty Discordance Axis. These are reissues that came out in the last few years. They originally came in DVD cases, and so that's how they come here. Okay, so we've got the hype sticker, and we've got this cool little booklet that has commentary from the band itself. Here is the Cocteau Twins singles box set that came out in the early 90s. It has 10 discs. I paid $110 for this, and the reason for it is because the remastered collections that the band released in the 2000s, yeah, they're harsh, they're loud, they sound like shit. I mean, you wouldn't think that a band like Cocteau Twins would compress the shit out of their music, but yep, even they were doing it, and I dare say they were probably fucking with the songs a little bit too. But a surefire way of knowing that you're getting the originals is by getting the originals. So here you go. Here is one of my favorite box sets. I've been waiting for this one since I was a teenager, listening to these albums. This is Black Sabbath, Anno Domini, 1989 to 1995. This is the Tony Martin box set. It is missing the Eternal Idol because of label issues. However, you get Tear, Headless Cross, Cross Purposes, and Forbidden. Bonus tracks are included, and all of these albums have been remastered. Forbidden was remixed, so the songs sound a little different. I don't think anybody's really going to complain that much about the purity of Forbidden of all albums. Let's see, it comes with this really cool Headless Cross poster. It also comes with this tour program for the Headless Cross tour. Here are my long boxes, and on the same shelf is Danzig, the Lost Tracks of Danzig, 26 unreleased tracks from the first album up to 2004, I believe. Okay, so we got Immolation, Acts of God, Typo Negative, Dead Again. This was released by Nuclear Blast, comes with a sticker, comes with a pin. And we have Marilyn Manson, One Assassination Under God, the first album of his that I bought brand new since 2009, because it has more balls and aggression than pretty much anything he's put out since Golden Age of Grotesque, or lest we forget. After I sold my record collection years ago, these are the only records that I've kept. I've kept this Midnight record because it was autographed by the band. Here's the tour edition of Population Reduction, At the Throats of Man Forever. That band was really important to me and me getting into metal. Here's the Population Reduction and Dysmorphic split, which is also pretty cool. Okay, I'm starting on Tower 1, Panel 1, top shelf. And with every shelf that I show off, I'm going to focus as best as I can to make sure that people can see what I have. So, we're starting off with some good shit. Some ABC Diablo. If you're into bands like Dystopia, this band might be up your alley. They have bits of hardcore, bits of crust, bits of grindcore, and it's been a few years since I've heard this, but maybe bits of black metal if I remember right. Pretty cool stuff. Then, of course, we have the legendary Abscess. The sticker on this one says Parental Advisory, totally fucking sick. Yep, I couldn't have said it better myself. If you like Autopsy, Abscess is most of Autopsy's members, playing in a raw, sloppy death punk style, and sometimes they play a psychedelic, slowed-down death doom style, like Autopsy is known to play sometimes. Of course, we have the compilations such as Thirst for Blood, Hunger for Flesh, and Bourbon, Blood, and Butchery. And how can I not mention the Abscess and Population Reduction split? So good. Like, every song on this is just... it's a fun record. We have the Bond-era AC/DC albums, all the studio albums. I know that I'm missing 74 Jailbreak, I'm missing the Bonfire box set, I am also missing the Backtracks box set, but I'll get there eventually. I just want to preface it with that because I know that it might be weird having Ballbreaker being the lone Brian album that I have, but this was cheap. I always really liked the artwork, and plus the liner notes look like a comic book. We've got The Accused, Martha Splatterhead. Cool stuff. And speaking of the 80s, we've got Ash Frehley. My personal favorite solo album the Spaceman has released after his 78 solo album. It's got some really cool songs on here like Rock Soldiers, Breakout, Into the Night, Something Moved. Just remember, it was the 80s. And by the way, did you know that Ed Trunk helped revive Ace's career? We've got the legendary Acid Bath, Kite String, and Pagan Terrorism Tactics. These are 90s pressings because the 2004 remasters really suck my fuck. Very loud, very compressed. We have some Adult. I bought this after seeing them open for Thrill Kill Cult. I need to have some more of their stuff. Really awesome industrial from Detroit. And since I love Nightwish so much, I have a couple After Forever CDs because I really love Floor Jansen. Self-titled one, and may as well focus on the second shelf here. Agalloch, one of my favorite bands of all time. Some of these CDs are the second and third purchase that I've made of these albums. I used to have the Compendium Archive, which was the 2-disc version of the Demonstration Archive. However, when they started reissuing the studio albums as deluxe sets, the second disc of those albums included stuff from the Demonstration Archive. Sorry, the Compendium Archive. So that means that I wanted to get my money back and wait for the rest of those reissues to happen because I paid about $250 for the Compendium Archive. It was autographed, but still, no need to spend money on expensive things when you don't have to, you know what I mean? I mean, that's part of the deal with CD collecting and collecting physical media in general is buying and selling. You know, sometimes better versions of things come along and it might be worth it to sell your copy of whatever rare album you have and get the superior, cheaper album. You know, sometimes the original isn't always better. Sometimes the remastered one isn't always better. You know, it's a case-by-case basis. Let's see. I will give you another example. First, we have Alice Cooper, $1 Billion Babies, but we have this right here, Welcome to My Nightmare. Quick note on that. There are some versions of this album, apparently, that the title track is the 3-minute single version. So if you're collecting this, be sure that you get the one that has the full 5-minute version of Welcome to My Nightmare. Don't you hate when they do that? They replace the album versions of songs with radio edits of songs. There's a Tori Amos album on the second tower that's like that. It drives me crazy. See, we've got Alice Cooper, Brutal Planet, and Dragontown. This is great for the song Brutal Planet alone. And we got Alien Sex Fiend. I really love this band. One of the classic original goth bands that's actually goth. Volumes 1 and 2 of these album collections. I'm aware that there's a volume 3. And I actually had a really hard time finding this one. This one was out of print for a while. So when I ordered it off of Amazon, they said it was going to take a month to show up. I thought they were joking, but no, it actually took a month to show up. I was happy when it did, but damn. We got some Amber Asylum, awesome neoclassical stuff. The members have been in many projects you may or may not know. Amon Amarth versus the World. So good. See, we got Amorphous. This EP was pretty cheap, so I picked this up along with this album because I really love the first song on it, Alone. Now, this CD was a freebie because I bought some Faith in the Muse albums from Monica, and she threw this in and was kind enough to autograph the CD for me. Thank you, Monica. Let's see, we've got Anal Cunts, the infamous Picnic of Love album. All of their albums are kind of expensive and hard to find at the moment, so this one is really fun to show to friends, especially people who have never heard of this band before. It's even better if you preface it by showing some of their other stuff first, you know, like, Y-O-U-R-E-G-A-Y, you're gay! And then you show them this album, and then you hear stuff like, I respect your feelings! It's a total joke of an album, and I just love it to death. We've got some Anthrax. I should really see about maybe getting some of the remastered versions of these albums at some point. I had to do that with State of Euphoria because that one, the volume was obnoxiously low on the original 80s pressing, and I got this remastered version. It sounds pretty good. Also has a second disc. Let's see, may as well focus on the third shelf here. Let's see, Sound of White Noise. That's probably my favorite Anthrax album, to be honest. What else? We got some At the Gates. Very different vocal style on this EP than what would appear on the later stuff. And then we have the 2-disc Red in the Sky with Fear I Kiss the Burning Darkness, Terminal Spirit Disease, and Slaughter of the Soul. What else can be said about this album that hasn't already been said? It's awesome. Just go check it out. We got Autopsy, one of my favorite death metal bands. This band influenced Cannibal Corpse and Entombed. That's how awesome they are. And of course we got Mental Funeral, one of my favorite albums ever, I think. Acts of the Unspeakable. Ugh. All Tomorrow's Funerals has some of the EPs and other assorted things that they've released over the years. Let's see, we got Bad Brains, self-titled, one of my favorite albums ever. It just leaves you in a good mood every time you listen to it. I have nothing bad to say about this album. I know the production's not the best, but hey, I mean, if you want better production, there is Rock for Light. I just don't really like the key that they played some of these songs in. I much prefer the self-titled album for that purpose. And then, of course, we have Eye Against Eye. I really love the guitar work on this album. Okay, camera got kind of bright there for a second, so let's see if I can focus this. We have some Badlands. Awesome stuff with Jakey Lee, got some Eric Singer over there. Voodoo Highway, really awesome album. Dusk, which was the third album that technically wasn't finished, but it's still really good on its own. See, we got some Bathory. Some of these are a bit of a hodgepodge. I got a 90s pressing here of Under the Sign of the Black Mark. I believe this is a 90s pressing of Blood, Fire, Death. 90s pressing of Blood on Ice. The Bathory CD catalog is kind of a mess, and yeah, it's kind of a pain in the ass to collect their stuff. I still need the first two albums. And then, of course, we got Bauhaus. Hard to not love Bauhaus. This is the collection. I really like these collections that Beggar's Banquet and Cleopatra do, because you can get like 5 albums for like $25-30. And it saves a lot of space, because like with something like this, it only takes maybe 2 CD cases worth of space. And that is super convenient if you're like me and you collect a lot of music. So, shelf space is definitely a factor. We got some Behemoth, this really awesome collection. It was one of the last things that I bought from McKay's in Greensboro before it closed. Oh man, I spent so much time in that store. What's this? We got Belushi Speedball, because Vinny was nice enough to send this to me, along with this one and this one. Oh yeah, very nice. Thank you, Vinny. What else do we have? We have some Between the Buried and Me. Really cool stuff. Colors, classic stuff. The Great Misdirect. Another band that I need to finish out the catalog for. Got some Bikini Kill. I watched her documentary pretty recently, and it was fascinating stuff. It's interesting seeing what that band had to go through. Because I do enjoy a lot of the stuff that they do. Let's see, we've got some Bjork, or some Björk, as it's technically supposed to be pronounced. I do enjoy the trip-hop sound sometimes. I love the arrangements, I love the bass sounds. And look at that artwork. Whew, so cool. We got this, which is a remix EP. Yeah, some Bjork. The soundtrack for the very depressing Dancer in the Dark movie. I watched that after the 2024 election results, and let's just say it did not help my mood. Vespertine, that's probably my favorite. I really love the sounds that she got off that one. We got some Black Dahlia. Classic. Rest in peace, Trevor. Man, I still can't believe he's gone. It's been a few years already, and it just kind of hard to get over. I guess I should just focus on this shelf right here. We got some Black Flag. Some of the Keith Morris era Black Flag mixed with a couple other singers. If I can focus my hand here. We got My War, which is probably my favorite. And we got the legendary Black Sabbath. This is the 2009 Deluxe Edition, which sounds really awesome. The Black Sabbath remasters that have come out after 2008 have been generally pretty good for the most part. Master of Reality, which might be my favorite. I also really love Volume 4. These little digipacks right here, they're really cheap. They came out in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, and they're cheap enough, the packaging's really cool, and they sound really good. Like, they're not too compressed, they're not too loud. And they generally just sound really natural to my ears. Of course, we got the Dio era stuff, like Heaven and Hell. We've got the Mob Rules. Have this German version of Born Again. I can't wait to hear the remixed version. That's going to be awesome. We got the Eternal Idol, one of my least favorite Sabbath albums, but this has a second disc, which has the other guy on it, Ray Gillen. And I might as well focus on this shelf here, because I know that everybody wants to see it. Okay, so Black Sabbath, of course, we got some Dehumanizer, one of my favorite and most underrated Black Sabbath albums, in my opinion. And I don't care what anybody says, I still like 13. I looked forward to it when it came out. I know it's not perfect, I know it's got some problems, especially with the mastering, but damn it, it was my Black Sabbath album. I looked forward to this. We got the Blackouts, which was Paul Barker's band before he joined Ministry. So if you like post-punk and if you like Ministry, this is really cool, because you can hear the influence that Paul had on Ministry's music when he joined the band. You know, sometimes it's cool to check out side projects like that because, you know, for those reasons, you know, you get to see what one guy brings to a band. We have Body Count, and this is the version that has Cop Killer. You know this because on the cover, it says Cop Killer. On the later versions, where the song was removed, the tattoo on the guy's chest just says Body Count. So, that's how you know. The Mighty Bolt Thrower. In Battle There Is No Law. Very raw, sloppy, grindcore-ish album, and I love it to death. I love every inch of it. Realm of Chaos, we got the original artwork version. Not that there's really anything wrong with the later version, but this one I think just fits it better. Now, one thing to note about the later version is it does feature the same artist, so there you go. Of course, you got War Master, Fourth Crusade, For Victory. Gotta love Bolt Thrower. And for the Metal Blade releases, I got the Digipack versions because the Digipack versions have bonus tracks. So, yeah. Always loved Bolt Thrower. Just one of the greatest death metal bands ever. See, this one has a symbol of 8 as a bonus track. And what's next to Bolt Thrower? Fucking Boston, of course. I know, corporate rock, blah, 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 but you know what? Objectively, this first album is just really good. I like it. Always have liked it. Yeah, first album's pretty good. Second album, for the most part, is almost as good as the first one, and then after that, they got kind of shitty. Yeah. There's a reason that they only release an album like once a decade. Let's see, we got Brain Oil, the self-titled album, is one of my favorite albums ever to this day. It's probably about 23 minutes, if I remember correctly. It's really short, but it's one of those albums where you don't mind how short it is because it makes you want to listen to it over and over and over again. The other two albums are like that too, but I don't know. Something about that first album just really does it for me. I don't know if it's the way it's mixed. I don't know if it's the vocals. I don't know what, but these songs are just so addictive. I would highly recommend this to anybody, any day of the week. Really awesome, heavy sludge punk, and just... I don't have anything. I just can't say nice enough things about it. Yeah, go check out Brain Oil, people. Okay, now I can set this on the floor a little bit and focus. Let's see, we got Breeders, we got Butthole Surfers. Yep, love me some Breeders. Just one of the greatest bass lines ever. Brutal Truth. Gotta love some Brutal Truth. Classic grindcore, excellent album, and I really need more of their stuff. We got Buck Satan and the 666 Shooters. It is Uncle Al's country album. I really, really, really wish that they used a real drummer on this, because using programmed drums, I think, really brought the album down. Like, the songs are okay if you're into that style of music, if you're into Al's humor, but I don't know, just great ideas kind of falls flat for me. See, we got Byrne the Priest. Not really much of a Lamb of God fan, but I really enjoy this album. So, of course, got Butthole Surfers, another favorite band of mine. Oh, okay, can't show that. Gonna have to censor that out on YouTube. But, let's see, got all the originals, double live, which this is the United States version. I've heard that the UK version is better, but haven't really put that to the test. I personally prefer albums like Locust Abortion Technician. It is my personal favorite Surfers album. And then, of course, you got the 90s stuff when they started using drum machines. They're okay. There are a couple songs on Weird Revolution that I like, but as an album, it just doesn't really work. Not for them, anyway. See, we got Humpty Dumpty LSD, which is a collections album. We've got Cancer. Yeah. Awesome, awesome, awesome death metal. Got another Cancer album. Some Candlemass. Woo! Some Cannabis Corpse and Ghoul. Gotta love me some Ghoul. Love those guys. And of course, we've got all the Cannibal Corpse stuff. Oh yeah. Can't beat Cannibal Corpse. So fucked up. So fucked up. And a great band to see live, too. We're going to go to the next shelf, and I'm going to focus this. Okay. Let's see. Gonna focus my hand so it's not overexposed. And we got more Cannibal Corpse. A couple of these were a little hard to find, such as Worm Infested. You already know the artwork. Let's see. Wretched Spawn. Really love this one. Also uncensored artwork. Let's see, which one was it? It was Bloodthirst. So, believe it or not, I actually prefer the censored artwork of Bloodthirst to this one, but I guess whichever one you can get, go get it. Got a Skeletal Domain, you got some of the newer stuff, which, it's alright, but I kind of feel like some of the fun is lost in some of the newer releases. Like, they're heavy as hell, but like, I don't know, there was something about albums like Tomb of the Mutilated that have this raw, nasty energy, you know? There's this mystique about those albums. Even though it's been all these decades later, those albums still just do something for me. And of course, we got Carcass. One of the first death metal bands that I ever got to see live. It was the bill with Carcass, Obituary, Noisem, and Exhumed. All the same night. I have two versions of Symphonies of Sickness, because even though this one is an alternate artwork, this one actually sounds better than this one, which is the censored artwork. The uncensored is inside. Got Necroticism. We've got Heartwork, which there have been a million versions of Heartwork. This one, to my ear, sounds pretty good. It's not super compressed. I like the first half of the album, and the second half of the album, for me, it drags uncontrollably. It's not that it was a different style of music, it was more that it just, well, like I said, the first 4 songs on there are pretty awesome, and then after that, I just fall asleep. I swear, this one is so much better. Then, of course, you got Wake Up and Smell the Carcass. On the inside, you have the photo of the Kennedy autopsy. There's the deluxe edition of Surgical Steel and Surgical Surplus, or Surplus Steel. Surplus Steel, yeah, that's what it's called. The Despicable EP, which is alright. Torn Arteries, which, it's alright. I didn't like it as much as I wish I could have did. Okay, so we got Carnivore. These are the Road Racer 1990 pressings, which have all of the songs on them. I know that there was that one version that had both of the albums, but they had to edit some of the songs, apparently. Let's see. Cathedral. Hard to beat Cathedral. Good shit. Some Celtic Frost. Celtic Frost. Gotta love Celtic Frost. It still sounds extreme even now, all these decades later, and they're still awesome. And yes, I do have Cold Lake. I don't know why I have it. It's actually not as bad as people say it is. I mean, it's not a good album by any means, but it's not horrible. It's just, you gotta remember, they look like this. Oh, the case is cracked. I gotta fix that. Okay, put that to the side, replace that. What do we have here? We have a Kevin Key release. We have Chuck Mingus, because there was a saxophone solo on this album that was sampled in a Ministry song on Dark Side of the Spoon. So that's the sole reason I bought this, and I think I paid like $2 for it. And of course, we have Chelsea Wolfe. God, I love her. Well, Chelsea Wolfe, sorry. That came out weird. See the Grime and the Glow. This one's really awesome. It's like it's a greatest hits between the first two albums, and it's just better produced. So good. So good. And if you can see her live, it doesn't even compare. The albums don't even compare. She's just so good, and she wears her heart on her sleeve. I dare say that her and Drab Majesty are my two favorite artists from the 2010s onward, and this is one of my top 3 albums of hers because it is a mix of all the different sounds that I like. It's got industrial, it's got trip-hop, it's got metal, it's got goth, it's got all sorts of stuff, and it's pretty well contained. It sits well on its own. Let's see, what else do we have? We have some Christian Death. Yes, the godfathers of United States death rock. Got this one. Got Catastrophe Ballet. Just the Roz stuff, because I really don't care about anything that happened after Roz. So, we have The Church, Starfish. This is the Super Jewel Box version, a remastered version, and it sounds better than the original, but not by much, so if you're thinking about buying this, maybe it won't be worth the extra few dollars, but I bought it because I really love the song Reptile. Let's see, Circle Jerks. It's a 2-for-1. Clan of Zymox. I really love Clan of Zymox. Got to see them a couple years ago and had a great time. Even got a picture with Ronnie. And while I was in line waiting for a picture with Ronnie, some lady cut in front of me and said, "My son wants to get a picture." And she just dominated the time of the guys. So it was like, come on, lady. Let's see, we got the bottom shelf here. We've got the Clash, and I do have the Clash box set, but this is the one with a different track listing, so you kind of get the best of both worlds as far as the Clash goes. And then, of course, we've got Cocteau Twins. All of the originals, because the remastered versions really suck. It's like they messed with the songs a little bit. And also, they're kind of harsh, kind of brittle, kind of loud. This is my personal favorite Twins album. Very beautiful. I would like to have the BBC Sessions discs someday, and I also really like this one. I find that the sound design on it sort of sets it apart from the other stuff, and it's really relaxing to listen to. I say Four Calendar Cafe and Milk and Kisses were kind of not that great, but I guess they're fine. I don't know. Concrete Blonde. Got this one, the 20th anniversary edition, because the original one, just like that Anthrax CD I mentioned a few minutes ago, it was really quiet and didn't have a lot of power, didn't have a lot of punch. Now this one, of course, when you put the waveforms side by side with the original, it would appear that this one may be louder, but it still sounds good. If you don't listen with your eyes, objectively, it does sound better than the original, in my opinion. It's worth it for the first song on its own. Trust me. We got Walking in London. Just a really cool, underrated band. I like this band. And while we're talking about Chelsea Wolfe, we've got Convergent Chelsea Wolfe. Really good stuff to spark up to. Trust me. Especially the song Scorpion Sting. Let me know how it goes for you. So you got Corpse Grinder's solo album, which kind of sucks, but the artwork's pretty cool. And we've got Corpus Delicti. Really awesome 90s goth band from France. One of those little collections that has their stuff, and it is well worth the money. Trust me, if you like goth music, check this shit out. It's really awesome. We've got Corrosion of Conformity. I am missing a couple things, but I'm hoping to fix that sometime in the future. I really love the Blind album. I got this one specifically because it still has the hype sticker. We got Covenant, a great Swedish band, sort of industrial, very danceable. Let's see, we got the Cramps. We got Cradle of Filth, really awesome shit. Ooh! I mean, look at that artwork. So beautiful. My personal favorite might actually be... Oh, wait, which one's this? Let's see. This one's Midian. That's really awesome, but I also really like... Well, where is it? Oh, it must be on the other panel. Okay. Okay, Tower 1, Panel 2, Top Shelf. We were just talking about Cradle of Filth a minute ago. They were releasing some really shitty albums for a while, and then I think they got good again, starting with Hammer of the Witches. This is Cruelty and the Beast, the remistressed version. Whether or not you like it better than the original is really up to the listener. I wouldn't mind having an original copy at some point just to have it, but for now, this is what I've got. So, moving on, we've got The Creatures. I really love Susie and the Banshees, and this was Susie and Budgie's project outside of the Banshees. And yes, I do have the glove. We'll get to that in a few minutes. See, we've got this one, which is more urban and industrial sounding. This one wasn't particularly easy to find, if I remember correctly. It's really short. This one is more Japanese sounding, and it has a DVD that I somehow haven't watched yet. I'll get to it. The Crow, one of the greatest movie soundtracks of all time. I mean, what else can you say about it? Just look at what's on here. It's awesome, right? It stands the test of time. Then, of course, we got Crowbar, really awesome sludge metal from New Orleans. Time Heals Nothing, Broken Glass. Archive metal, which features the albums Oddfellows Rest, Equilibrium, and Sonic Excess. This goes back to the thing I said about these CD collections. See that this only takes up 2 CD cases. If I had these separately, it would take up 3 CD cases. Even if you have towers like these, where you can store a lot of music, sometimes if you collect a lot of music, it adds up quickly. So shelf space is a factor, like I said earlier. So we got Crypta, Brazilian death metal. I like them. I know some people don't. The Crown, Death Race King, awesome Swedish stuff. And we have The Cure, one of my favorite bands. Most of these are the 2006 remasters. Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. This one has the extra song that was not on the original CD release because there wasn't enough space, but technology had come a long way since then, and they were able to add it back in there. The song is called Hey You. Staring at the Sea, that is an old pressing. An old man who looks like he's about to offer me some cake. Hey, want some cake, sonny boy? Do, 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 do. Okay, so, second shelf. Got the original Disintegration because I did not like the 2010 remaster, but this is one of the greatest albums ever made, in my opinion. So, and I do have the original for Wish, but to be honest, I like the 2020's remaster better. I don't know, there's more detail there. We got Wild Mood Swings, which I think really sucks. There are some good songs on it, but the album just didn't work. You could tell. They had a million drummers on it, and I don't know. Something went terribly wrong with that album. And the choice of singles. Why did they pick those singles? Mint Car? Fuck that song! They started getting good again with Bloodflowers. Let's see. The self-titled one I thought really sucked. 413 Dream was okay at best. And this one was when they got their groove back. Yes, I really like this album. And we have Curve. I heard this at a goth night, and this was one of the times that I had to Shazam what I was listening to because, let's see, the song Fait Accompli. So good. And I didn't realize it, but the song Chinese Burn was in an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And me being a Buffy fan, I had to have this. So, yeah, I'd like to thank the DJs at my local goth nights, and I'd like to thank Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We got Cyberactive, one of many Skinny Puppy side projects. This is a remastered version. That sounds really good. And then, of course, we have the newer one, which... yeah, it's Endgame. Let's see, we also have some Damned. I love some Damned. Second one may not be quite as good, but have this version of Machine Gun Etiquette. There are a million versions of that one, though my personal favorite Damned album is this one, the Black Album. This is the 2-disc version because this has everything that was supposed to be on the album. Depending on what version of the album you have, it may have all the songs and it may not have all the songs. Strawberries, this is also a remastered version. Phantasmagoria, some people don't like this album. I actually really enjoy it. It's the album that came afterwards that really sucks monkey fuck. Let's see, we got Dangerous Toys. Got some Danzig. Glenn Danzig. We got Black Aria. Nice neoclassical stuff that sounds like a Nintendo 64 soundtrack. Thrall, Danzig 4. My personal favorite is actually Danzig 3. In my opinion, that is Danzig's best vocal work. Danzig Black Acid Devil, not a horrible album like a lot of people say. It has great ideas, just poorly executed. I wouldn't mind hearing it remixed. Because there is a good Danzig album there somewhere, but like, everything is distorted in an unpleasant way. I realize it's supposed to be industrial rock, industrial metal, whatever you want to call it, but, you know, distorting Danzig's voice to the point where you don't know what the hell he's saying, it doesn't work, especially when his voice is part of the appeal of Danzig. You know what I mean? I did a whole video on this album. Now, I really like this one, Satan's Child. Really awesome stuff. And then Danzig 7, that one's kind of shitty, and then the albums afterwards, it's just whatever. Let's see, this shelf. We got some Dark Throne, A Blaze in the Northern Sky, the first black metal album I ever heard. Panzerfaust, Dark Tranquility, The Gallery, one of my favorite death metal albums ever. You could call it mellow death. I say call it whatever you want. I love this album. Let's see, The Mind's Eye, the Dave Brochu Experience, both of them. I got these relatively cheap, as they can sometimes be kind of hard to find. So, we got some David Bowie here. A bit of a hodgepodge, because if I'm not mistaken, the first album was released by a different company. It's still not good. I still don't want to listen to it. I think he didn't really become David Bowie until this one, with the ridiculous hair. I know there's an alternate artwork, but now this one, though, ooh, so good. Let's see. Some of these are the 90s Ryko discs. This one is the 2007 Deluxe Edition. This one came out in 2010. One of my favorite Bowie albums here. I really love Low. I really love Heroes. I really love Scary Monsters. Just the dark carnival atmosphere. It kind of reminds me of Peep Show by Susie and the Banshees. I'm really into that dark carnival crazy atmosphere, you know what I mean? See, we got Let's Dance, we've got Tonight, we've got Never Let Me Down. His albums got kind of bad for a while, and then he started releasing good stuff again, starting with Tin Machine. It was ahead of its time, in a way. Buddha of Suburbia, that was a soundtrack album. And this one is batshit insane. Yes, it's dated, but I really love songs like I'm Deranged and Strangers When We Meet. When I went to visit the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they had the jacket that he wore on the cover of this one. And then Hours came out, kind of sucked, but it does have a really cool lenticular cover. And I own the Best of Bowie because it has the single versions of a lot of these songs. And, you know, just because you can make a song 5 minutes on an album doesn't necessarily mean you should. You know, if you're into brevity, sometimes 3 minutes is all you need. Because otherwise you're just copy and pasting a lot of stuff. Now, I realize they do that for the dance floor, but, you know, sometimes I just want to sit outside and listen to the songs in a more contained manner. David Lee Roth, Eat 'Em and Smile. Really awesome guitar work here. What else do we have? We have some Dead Boys. Love some Dead Boys. the second album, which was not that easy to find, but thankfully I do have it. And we have some Dead Can Dance. I really love this band, always have. Been listening to this band since probably 2015, 2016. Within the Realm of a Dying Sun is my favorite of theirs. I've had many, many, many walks in cemeteries with Dead Can Dance playing in the headphones. And for Into the Labyrinth, for some reason, they changed the artwork on this one. I don't know why they did that. I mean, it sounds good, but come on. I was not that big of a fan of Spirit Chaser, but I have it anyway because why not? We got Dead Kennedys. I found these at Goodwill for about $1 a piece. So got this one, and we have this one. And then, of course, we have Death. It's a little bit of a hodgepodge, but most of these are the Century Media releases that came out in the late 90s. They have bonus tracks. I have the Relapse remix of Human because debatably it is better than the original. I know it's louder, I know it's a bit compressed, but still, you trade off a little bit of that just so you can hear the fucking bass. Individual Thought Patterns, for some reason they've never been able to mix or master correctly, but this is the 99 version, and it works for me for as much as I listen to it. So we got Death Symbolic, again, remastered version. Perseverance 2005 version that has a DVD that I somehow haven't watched yet. Decapitated, excellent Polish death metal. And we've got the Mighty Deicide. Oh, these are fun. Okay, so we have these Deicide releases. This is Crucifixation, the early years. This contains the first album, Legion, and the Amon demos. We have this one, which has Once Upon the Cross and Serpents of the Light. And we have Bible Bashers, which has the shittier albums, but also it has When Satan Lives, so buy it anyway. I really like the way these are packaged. So cool. And of course, when you take the discs out, you can see the artworks. Yep. In Torment in Hell. Ugh. Ugh. No, don't listen to that one. Listen to this one. This shit is badass. Resuming this shelf, we also have Scars of the Crucifix. We also have The Stench of Redemption. That was a really awesome lineup. Had Ralph Santola and Jack Owen as part of the band. I know a lot of people are like, oh, the Hoffmans. Yeah, the Hoffmans were cool, but this lineup was also really cool. Don't underestimate it. We got Deep Purple, made in Japan. Believe it or not, the original version of it is still available brand new. Hey, that's awesome. I really love this live album. Nobody's gonna take my car. Let's see, Perfect Strangers in 80s pressing. The comeback album for the Mark II lineup, I think? I can't remember. That band's had 1 million members in it. And we got some awesome Finnish death metal here. Ooh, yes. If you don't know this one, and you like death metal, check it out. It's really awesome. Some Demigod. And we got Depeche Mode. I am not much of a fan of their early work. I do like the singles of the early albums, but to be honest with you, I think that they were at their best in the 1990s. I know it's blasphemy for a lot of people, but see, we got Black Celebration, the deluxe version that came out in the 2000s. It fixes an error where the nosedive at the beginning of Question of Time only plays once and not twice. Let's see, we got Violator, Songs of Faith and Devotion, Ultra, let's see, singles 81 to 85. So when I'm talking about the singles from the early albums, this is really what I want to listen to here. Most of the songs that I want to hear are on this one. And honestly, the CD that gets played the most is this one. I would dare say that there isn't a bad song on this entire set. Like the Bowie Greatest Hits, this has the radio edits of a lot of these songs, which I find to be better than some of the album edits. And different mixes, you know, like In Your Room, it has the music video mix, where the album version, it's more creepy, depressing, whatever you want to call it. It's really cool stuff. And I would say that after the 90s, they never released anything amazing ever again. Now, they've had good songs here and there, but there's no Depeche Mode album from the 2000s that I want to hear from beginning to end. Okay, so let's see. We've got Metalocalypse, Death Album 3. I still need the first two. We got Decrups. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah, brother. See, we got this one, too. Actually, a fan of the channel sent me these two, so thank you. Let's see, we've got Discharge, classic stuff. This influenced grindcore in a good way. If you like Incantation, this has most of the Golgotha lineup after they were fired or quit. It's really good stuff. Underrated. I don't think a lot of people know about it. We got Dismember, classic Swedish death metal. Some more classic Swedish death metal. This one has Indecent and Obscene and also Pieces. Dissection, the Somberlin. Yeah. I still need the Storm of the Lights Bane CD and Rain Chaos. The most recent acquisitions I've gotten were Diva Destruction. Hell yes. Really awesome goth music from 1999, although my favorite album of hers is this one. She has been playing some shows lately and releasing some more music, so album number 4 coming when, Deborah? These were hard to find, too. This one was $30 from the United States, and these two I had to order from Germany. No, they were not cheap. This one was, though. Doubting Thomas, another Skinny Puppy side project that had Dwayne. This is the deluxe version. And another Skinny Puppy side project, Download. Really awesome stuff if you're into experimental music that you need to make time for. Drab Majesty, another one of my favorite bands. Yeah, this first album is pretty good, but the leap in quality from the first album to the second one, it's like you're listening to a different band. I love this album. So good. And they're worth seeing live. I mean, I know the costumes are a bit ridiculous. So, I mean, for some people, it may be better to just listen to the albums because they look so fucking goofy when you see them live. But, hey, when you do see them live, especially if you're on some substances, well, that helps sometimes. Let's see. An Object in Motion. This one has the skin and the glove. Oh, yeah. Seeing them in New York playing that song, that was really cool. That was a warehouse show. Saw them in Brooklyn. See Dying Fetus, Grotesque Impalement. This one was a little difficult to find at the time, but I'm glad to have it now. What can be said about Dystopia that hasn't been said already? Just go listen to them. A mix of sludge, doom, crust, grindcore, and perhaps a couple of other things. They had movie samples, and they hit a nerve. They're super angry, super emotional, and there's a reason that a lot of people still like them after all this time. We have Echo and the Bunnymen, a bare bones, multiple album package, but it's worth it so you can get the Killing Moon for under $15. Really cool stuff. The Eden House, if you're a fan of Fields of the Nephilim, this is a super group that on this EP contains a couple of contributions from the Fields of the Nephilim guys. I really like the song Never See. I heard that at Goth Night one time and I was like, oh, this is amazing. What is this? Had to Shazam that one. Let's see. Edge of Sanity, Crimson. I know I need the rest of their stuff, but holy shit. Of course, this is like one song that's like 40 minutes or something. So good. The Electric Hellfire Club. Basically, if you like early Thrill Kill Cult when they were still doing the rough, gritty, satanic wannabe stuff, this is basically what you would get if they continued that sound, because Thomas decided to do that project when Thrill Kill was doing more disco lounge type stuff. This is the Kiss the Goat album, the deluxe version. Got Calling Dr. Love, which has a fucking unbelievably goofy album artwork. Most of the songs on it are kind of good, but yeah, they were probably better live. Elevati. Lovely. See, we got Brian Eno here. Baby's on fire. The movie Velvet Goldmine made me want to buy this album because the soundtrack on that movie is just excellent. Entombed, Left Hand Path, one of the greatest albums ever made, I think. I also really love Clandestine, and even more than that, I love Wolverine Blues. Yes, I like Wolverine Blues more than Clandestine. It's just so fun to listen to. And of course, this is the full dynamic range version that has the movie samples added back into it. this, which has some of the bonus tracks that came out in Japan, etc. Escape from LA, this has a Ministry track that was an outtake from the Filthpeg sessions. Exorder, Slaughter in the Vatican, this was autographed by both Vinny and Kyle. And we have the Demos bootleg, which also was autographed by Vinny and Kyle. More Than Southern Skies, which I did not like at all. I mean, I was glad that they made another album, but this just didn't sound like Exorder to me. And it was weird seeing all the glowing reviews for it at the time, because it was like, am I listening to the same album everybody else is listening to? I don't know. Sorry, Vinny. Let's see, Exhumed, Gore Metal. This is the re-release version that has the original and the re-recorded version. It's good to have because you can get the original one pretty cheap. We got Slaughter Cult. Yeah! Anatomy is Destiny, another really cool Exhumed album. So good. Everything that band touches is just excellent. X-Pain, awesome Canadian stuff, and we're gonna go to the shelf below. More X-Pain. That was sent to me by one of the members. This one was sent to me by a fan of the channel. This is German Thrash, if I'm not mistaken. Here I have the 20th anniversary of Fallen by Evanescence. I've always really liked this album. I was a kid when it came out, so I have some memories attached to it. Here's some liner notes written by Amy Lee herself. Some alternate shots from that photo shoot. And I bought this specifically because I wanted the stuff on the second disc. It has the band version of My Immortal. Now, if you have the cheaply available original version, that's one disc, that's okay. It does sound better than the original, I think this does, but, you know, if you have the original, it'll do, if you're happy with it. So we got the open door, which I actually like a little better. I think they really came into their own there. And of course we got some Faith in the Muse, some awesome ethereal goth from the 1990s. Anwin Beneath the Waves has this nice open wall of sound. I'm really into that stuff. Those drums just thunder so hard. So good. And these are really cool because this one and The Burning Season were autographed by Monica. If I can open it with one hand, there we go. For Tony. Aw, thank you, Monica. Next time I see William Faith's band, the Bellwether Syndicate, I'm going to have him autograph these too, so that way I can have both of them. I did get a set list when I saw them, so... Let's see, Faith No More. Nothing wrong with having a little Faith No More in your collection. Some Mike Patten. Angel Dust. This is almost death metal in places. So good. So good. Then you got Fear from the 1980s. Really awesome classic punk record. New York's alright. They played SNL at this time period, and they got banned from SNL because there was a big mosh pit. The footage of it's on YouTube. Go check it out. And we have another collection, Fields of the Nephilim, one of my favorite goth acts. This one has these albums. And for the stuff that was missing, like the Burning the Fields EP, I got on this one, which I'm not even sure if this is an official release or not, but it's here. I have it. I'm not missing Burning the Fields. And then, of course, there's Fallen, which is a demo album, because I guess that Carl was taking so long to record an album that the label just released this as is. Carl wasn't happy with it. At least that's the story to my understanding. And this one came out, and it's all right, but it doesn't hold a candle to Elysium, the Nephilim, those albums. Fight, there's one really good album on here, and the other one just really fucking sucks. Just listen to the song Nailed to the Gun. Whew, so good. Let's see, Filter. Hey man, nice shot. Gotta take a picture on this one, but this one I actually like even more than that one, so hey. Floodgate, this has Kyle Thomas from Exorder. And a fan sent me these Fetus albums. Classic Industrial from Australia. And of course, like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, they changed the name of the band for every release just about. Got some more Fetus, more examples of the name changing, like Fetus Corruptus. This one has Lydia Lunch, and she is having a rather cathartic breakdown on stage. Yeah. It works for this, trust me. Let's see, Front 242, no comment. classic Belgian electronic stuff. Back catalog. Official version. This was when the album started getting reissued in the 90s, and they had these really stupid PlayStation 1 looking album covers as opposed to the original album covers, which is what this is up in the top corner. Tyranny for You, and I don't have anything past that for some reason. Frontline Assembly, we've got these two really cool albums, and then we have these two. Whoo! Yes. Tactical Neural Implant. From what I can tell, these are the original masters, so they sound pretty good. But these were a way to get the albums cheap, because at the time I was looking for them, they were a little difficult to find. Hardwired, that is my personal favorite Frontline album. It just attacks you on all fronts. Just the sound design, the production, everything about this album is just so intense, so nuts, so good. This one doesn't get talked about so much, but this one's also pretty good. It may take a couple listens to really get into, but when you do, there's a lot of really interesting stuff on this album. You got Implode, which debatably is their last amazing one. Epitaph, Artificial Soldier. People seem to react weirdly when I show them that I have this album in my collection. The Frozen Autumn, Italian dark wave, that's really good. A lot of these albums were kind of hard to find. This one I bought from the label. I sent them an email asking if they had this one, and by some luck, they did. So, yeah. Got a song on here, Sperm Like Honey. Okay. As of right now, all of their albums are on CD except for their last one. Hopefully they do press it on CD because I would love to own that one physically. We got Fugazi. It's a cheap release. Fudge Tunnel. Yeah. Really cool stuff. And we have Garbage. Yes, I do listen to Garbage, though I personally prefer Curve myself. Bottom shelf, we have more Garbage. Bleed Like Me, that's as new as I got. Let's see. Jenna Torturers. One of the most fun live bands you can see. This is the Japanese version that was autographed by Jen when I bought it. Has a couple extra songs on it, and it is limited. There are many versions of Flesh is the Law. This is the one that I have. Different versions have different artworks, different track listings, etc. We have some Ghost. Yep, this is the only one that I own that has Ghost BC as the artist name. Let's see, I have the deluxe version of this one, and my personal favorite is actually this one. I know that's blasphemy for a lot of people. Objectively, I would say that this one is probably their best album, but this one is my favorite because I have some memories attached to it. And let's see, Impera, it's okay. I mean, I liked it when it came out, but there isn't really a lot of replay value for me. It's like every song wants to be Dance Macabre now. I don't know. And I still need to hear the new one. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. And then, of course, we got The Mighty Ghoul. This is We Came for the Dead and Maniacs 2-in-1. A great Space Saver release by Tank Crimes. We've got Splatter Thrash, which has the song Rise Killbot Rise. Some crazy asshole would name his YouTube channel after that later. Transmission Zero, I remember when this album came out and I was enamored by it. It was awesome, and it still is. Intermediate Level Hardcore, this is their covers EP. And I still really love the snare drum sound and the production in general on Dungeon Bastards. Such a great album. Live in the Flesh, the CD version. I also have the DVD. Noxious Concoctions, a really cool EP that came out. And let's see, Gibby Haynes from the Butthole Surfers. This was a solo release for him. Really funny artwork here. Let's see, we got The Glove, a Susie and Cure side project. Let's see, if I remember correctly, Rob Smith was... he could only sing on a couple songs because of his contract, so they had a different singer. You could tell that they were experimenting with a lot of psychedelics when they came up with this, so yeah. Goat Whore, a whore that is a goat. Or it could be a goat that is a whore. I don't know. Godflesh, debatably one of the greatest industrial metal releases ever. In fact, I would say that if you want to hear Godflesh, this has everything you could ever want from Godflesh in a simpler, smaller form. Some would say that this is a mini album, as this only has like 6 songs for the original version, then later the bonus tracks were added. But songs like Veins, whoo! Makes you want to fight, makes you want to dance, makes you want to just break stuff. It's really fun. Street Cleaner, the 2-disc version that is remastered, for some reason they combined Devastator and Mighty Trust Crusher, but overall it is still worth having. Of course, we got Slave State. Remixes, songs, Cold World. Ooh. Okay, we're still on Tower 1, Panel 3, continuing with Godflesh. They were a band that were important to me when I was 14, 15, and 16 years old. This is my least favorite album of theirs because all the songs kind of sound the same. I think there was more variety on even the EPs, like Merciless, and Songs of Love and Hate, which this one comes with the In All Languages DVD, which has their music videos. Here's Godflesh's Messiah EP, which was released sometime after they broke up in the early 2000s, after the Hymns album. This is ridiculously heavy. If you can find yourself a copy, do it, because, whoa, it's Godflesh in rare form. And then, of course, we have this really awesome box set right here. It is called Long Live the New Flesh. I paid about $50 for this. It has the albums A World Led Only by Fire, Post Self, and it has the EP Decline and Fall. It also has Post Self Plus, which is basically just remixes. This is Purge by Godflesh, their latest offering. I really love the artwork. I've always really liked Godflesh's artworks in general. They seem pretty minimal, but they have some really cool symbolism going on, like, say, for the Us and Them album. It's a simple concept, but it works for that type of music. And then you have stuff like Merciless. It's a pretty simple concept, but again, it is so fitting with what they're trying to convey with their music, emotionally and physically as well, as far as the waveforms of sound, as heavy and crushing as they are. Also not for the faint of heart, Grief. Really sludgy, depressing, angry sludge and doom metal from Massachusetts. Some of the members now operate as Come to Grief, and look at these artworks. Holy shit. Not for the casual metal listener, not for the casual doom metal listener either, because, trust me, these guys are slow. Super slow. You sort of have to make time to listen to them. You also have to sort of be in the right headspace to listen to them, but when you are in the right headspace to listen to them, they really hit the spot. We got Grime Madness at the BBC, Earache Peel Sessions, which features bands such as Napalm Death, Extreme Noise Terror, Carcass, Bolt Thrower, Unseen Terror, Heresy, Intense Degree, Godflesh. Really excellent sound quality on this. I think I paid like $15 for it back in 2010. Guns N' Roses got GNR Lies and the Spaghetti Incident. For some reason, I don't have the Illusion albums or Appetite. I'm going to have to change that up. And we have the Mighty Gwar. Huge inspiration for me. This version of Hello was pressed in the Netherlands, and as a bonus track, there is Black and Huge. When Gwar remastered Hello last year, or the year before, whenever it was, they remastered the album, but they didn't include Black and Huge. So for me, it wasn't really worth it to have a new version that didn't have all the songs. I mean, come on, go big or go home. Original Scumdogs, which may sonically not sound as good as the remixed version, but, you know, I feel like for the remixed version, they mess with the songs a little too much, so this one it is, for me anyway. The special edition of America Must Be Destroyed. It also comes with the Phallus in Wonderland DVD, which, if you're into B-movies and that type of thing, it's really cool to watch, at least once. And just so you can see it easier, this is The Road Behind, which was a fan club only release. This was signed by Sly Menstra and Dave Brockie himself. I found this at McKay's for about $7. I didn't even know it was autographed when I bought it. To tell the truth, I bought it just specifically so I could flip it on eBay. But as soon as I opened the booklet, I said, nope, this is staying with me forever. So, you got lucky. It happened to be autographed by one of my heroes. The world misses him, even now. Let's see. Continuing with Gwar, we have This Toilet Earth. This is the version that has BDF, which was removed on later pressings of the CD. Stupidly, I might add, but hey, I understand it. We got Violence Has Arrived, one of their best. War Party, even better than that, I think. Let There Be Gwar, which was their pre-Hello demos. Lust in Space, we got Bloody Pit of Horror, which is it's an international version that has some extra songs. I have the original Battle Maximus with the worst artwork Gwar ever put out on one of their studio albums. I mean, look at this. It's just the name of the band, the name of the album. Even this, inferior album, but look at the artwork. It's cool. And then, of course, we got the new Dark Ages, which I did not like at all. Battle Maximus, the remixed version. Sonically, it does sound better, and it does come with a couple extra songs. So that's pretty cool. We got the Mighty Hemorrhage, some awesome gore grind from Spain. This is an original pressing. We've got Groom, the expanded version with a whole bunch of bonus tracks. Anatomical Inferno, this one that also has some extra tracks. Morgue Sweet Home, which is probably their magnum opus, but all of their albums are pretty good. I'm still missing a couple. There's Hematology. There's also Hematology Volume 2, which I don't have yet, but I'll get there eventually. Hail of Bullets has Martin Van Drunen. Really awesome stuff. And what's here? We have some Harsh Symmetry. I found this for $3, I think, at McKay's. And what's next? We have Heaven and Hell. If you're a fan of Dio-era Sabbath, this was the one studio album that they released as Heaven and Hell in the 2000s. So be sure to check that out. Hellhammer Apocalyptic Raids. It's been released under different names over the years, but this is the one that I have. And of course we have Demon Entrails, which it's 2 discs. It has the demos that they recorded. And for what they are, for as old as they are, they sound pretty good. Helmet, strap it on. Some more Helmet, got Meantime, got Betty. Fucking awesome snare drum sound on that one. Hemdale and Exhumed, which was autographed. I'd like to thank Adam from Unbaptized Records for sending this to me. Thank you, man. We got some High on Fire. Oh, yeah. Can't go wrong with some High on Fire. There are a million different versions of this album in particular, but this is the one that I have. I seem to have all of them. And my personal favorite might actually be this one, Cometh the Storm. There's just so much brute force on this album. Whew. Trust me, when you listen to it, you'll know. As an outlier for this collection, we have some Him. Music for girls, you know? I mean, I like some of his stuff from time to time, but, you know, I wouldn't say that I'm a fan necessarily, but, you know. His Hero Is Gone. Awesome Crust from Tennessee. The Plot Sickens. His Name Is Alive. I happened to find this just after I finished reading the 4AD book, and I just had to have it. Of course, we got How to Destroy Angels. I heard this album when it came out and loved it, and I've loved it ever since. Then, of course, there's the album, Welcome Oblivion. Hooverphonic, a good friend of mine. This is her favorite album of all time, and I do enjoy the trip-hop sound once in a while. This is a Belgian band who originally went under the name Hoover. Definitely worth checking out if you're into stuff like Massive Attack, Portishead, that type of thing. I have 2 copies of Huntress, Spell Eater. This one is autographed by the whole band. Rest in peace, Jill. Between Two Worlds, awesome black metal supergroup from the 2000s. It's a shame they never released a second album. I would have loved to have heard that. See, Iggy Pop, Iggy and the Stooges, Raw Power. This is the Legacy Edition. Has the original mix, which, you know, there are 2 versions that are known to the public. There's the original mix, which sounds bad, and then there's the 1997 mix, which also sounds bad. And after that one came out, they were like, you know what, the original mix wasn't so bad after all. Iggy Pop, The Idiot. The start of Bowie's Berlin trilogy, because Bowie produced this one, or co-produced this one, I should say. We have Iggy Pop, Lust for Life. Makes me want to watch Trainspotting. Immolation, Dawn of Possession. fucking awesome classic death metal, and this one was hard to find. Well, maybe not so much hard to find, but it was really expensive. Why this one never got re-released is a mystery to me, but these are the demos from their early years, and I am quite happy to have it. Now, some of these albums were a little hard to find, because, you know, rights issues in certain countries, they're allowed to release them in Europe, and sometimes they're not allowed to release them in America. But, like this one. This one I had to buy from France. Same with this one. You know, Immolation never really released a bad album. All their albums are really good. I do tend to have my favorites. I also tend to have my favorite riffs. Let's see, you got Immortal. Some of their stuff is kind of goofy, but it's classic black metal, and this was one of the first black metal albums I ever heard. The final song on it is called A Perfect Vision of the Rising Northland, and it still sends chills down my spine when I hear it. So, yeah, it's different from their stuff that came after, but still worth checking out. And of course, you got both versions of Impaled's The Dead Shall Remain Dead. There's the original. And then there's the re-recorded note-for-note version, which is The Dead Still Remain Dead. Even the artwork and the packaging is exactly the same. And then, of course, you have Mondo Medical, or Medicali, whatever you call it. And it was hard to find. It was pretty hard to find, but it was so worth it when I finally got it. It is a classic. Let's see, Industrial Accident, the soundtrack for the Wax Trax documentary, has some new stuff that never really got released to the public. Then, of course, we have this industrial compilation, which has the LP mix of Dig It by Skinny Puppy. You know how on the CD version of that album, it has the 7-minute version? Well, this has the 6-minute version. I'd say it's a pretty solid compilation. Then you got some Infester. So good. And then we have In Flames. In Flames when they were good. They used to be good. Hard to imagine now. Okay, so we got some more In Flames. We got some Maiden, which my Maiden stuff is a bit of a hodgepodge. Some of these are the standalone 80s discs that have one disc, and some of these, like this, are the 1995 Castle versions, which have extra discs and extra tracks. For instance, Number of the Beast. The song Total Eclipse was not on the original 80s discs, but on the 95 disc, it is there. This one actually still has the hype sticker, so we can zoom that in. Yeah, they look pretty cool, I'd say. My personal favorite Maiden album is Somewhere in Time. I really love the space concept, and I just love the atmosphere. I love the artwork. It's just so many little details and little Easter eggs. So good. Fear of the Dark, the original one, not a particularly great album, but whatever. And this one's not a particularly great album either, but hey, I have it. I mean, if you're going to have the Maiden stuff, you may as well have the original pressings, because the remastered versions are so annoying for so many reasons. Matter of Life and Death. Some people subscribe to the idea that Seventh Son was the last good Maiden album. Now, they have released good albums since then, and they've had great songs since then. But you can kind of see where people are coming from. They released masterpiece album, after masterpiece album, after masterpiece album, and so on and so on. And then the one that came out right after, oh boy was that a drop in quality. And so was the one after that one. But when you're listening to albums such as Matter of Life and Death, you have to listen to it for what it is and not for what it isn't. So don't listen to Dance of Death and expect it to be peace of mind, you know what I mean? Like, you can still find enjoyment out of the newer Maiden albums, you just have to be listening with an open mind. And they still might not be for you, because the intros are ridiculously long. And you know, I just prefer Maiden when the songs are under 6 minutes. You know, they don't all have to be 15 minutes apiece. See, we've got the Jane's Addiction albums with the uncensored artworks. We have the Jack Officers, which is a Butthole Surfer side project. It kind of sucks, but I have it anyway. Jesus and Mary Chain, they are much better on the albums than they are live, because I saw them open for 9 Inch Nails several years ago, and I thought they were boring as hell. Let's see, Jesus Lizard. Can't go wrong with some Jesus Lizard. Probably another band that's different live than on the albums. And in Jesus Lizard's case, that means that they're better live than on the albums. Joan Jett, Bad Reputation. We got Joan Jett, I Love Rock and Roll. And we got Joey Ramone's solo album. So precious. Gotta love Joey. And right next to these, we have John Hamm's Nomad Trilogy. If you're a fan of Agalok and the more cinematic aspects of Agalok, you got these. They sound like they could be soundtracks to Western movies. Especially this last one. This is the special edition. He included a nice postcard for me. That was very cool of him. And we got some Johnny Thunders. I've always really loved the 70s punk sound. You know, whether it's the CBGB bands or the English bands, the American bands, it doesn't matter. Those bands are just so cool. They have that raw energy. Then you got post-punk, you know, stuff like Joy Division. Ooh, so good. Yes, I actually know the music. You know, I'm not someone who wears the t-shirts and doesn't know who the hell it is. So we got Substance, we got Still, we've got Judas Iscariot. Very cool black metal. And we've got Judas Priest. Again, these are a bit of a hodgepodge. This one came out in the 90s. This one also came out in the 90s by Repertoire. There have been a million different releases of these first two albums. And then as for the rest of them, we have the Japanese version of Priest in the East. That's what they titled the album in Japan. In other places, it's called Unleashed in the East. I mean, it still sounds kind of bad, but it has the bonus tracks, and I like having the bonus tracks. The rest of these are early 80s pressings. You know, you got really cool packaging, like on Painkiller. And I also have the Ripper Owens albums, because they are ridiculously heavy. Whew! So cool. Here is Judas Priest, Demolition. I know a minute ago I said that the Ripper Owens albums are pretty heavy. That doesn't necessarily mean that this one is a good album. Yeah, the guitar sound is heavy, the drum sound is heavy, the lyrics are aggressive, but they were going through the motions with this one. KK Downing himself admitted it in his book. Let's see, we have Angel of Retribution, which is as new as I have for Judas Priest. Now, they have released newer albums that I like, I just don't have them yet. We have The Keening, which I bought because I saw them open for Agalok, and I really enjoyed it. And of course, we got Chemists from Colorado. Really awesome stuff. Glad to have them here. And we have most of the Killing Joke stuff. Some of these are compilations because a few of these albums are a little hard to find on their own, such as Fire Dances. Let's see. This one was kind of hard to find. I think I paid about $40 for it. Pandemonium's amazing. Democracy's amazing. The 2003 one's amazing. Hosanna's is awesome. I liked that one a lot more than I thought I was going to. Here's Absolute Descent, and that is as new as I have. And then I have the 3-disc version of the Singles Collection. Check that out. You know, again, you have radio edits of some of these songs, so they're a little shorter sometimes, and that works for me. See, we got the King Diamond Digipacks, which I know a lot of people don't like Digipacks, but hey, the colors on these really pop. They're really cool when you can see them in person. You can hold them. You can see how cool they look. Spider's Lullaby. Graveyard. And then we have the one that is based in New Orleans. Well, the story's based in New Orleans. I always liked this one. House of God. The Puppet Master, which I say is one of his best. I've maintained that for many years, and I still do. Give Me Your Soul, which was okay. And we got some Kiss. Kiss were a big part of my childhood, and I have these albums as a result. The majority of these are the remastered versions that came out in the 90s. We have Alive 75 through 2000, which has Alives 1 through 3, and also Alive the Millennium Concert. Okay, so check out how awesome this packaging is. Check this out. So, got this right here, road case with the stickers from all the tours they've been on. Some really cool liner notes here. Look at all these discs. I mean, it's nice to have Alive and Alive 2 on one disc instead of, you know, separating them into two discs. And of course, when you pull the discs out, if I can do it with one hand, check that out. You got the artworks underneath. So you got this one. Come on. Come on. Okay, that's not the Alive 2 artwork, but the Alive 2 artwork is in the booklet. So And this is where it gets weird, because Kiss started remastering and re-releasing these albums at weird anniversary dates. For instance, this is the 45th anniversary of Destroyer. Okay, so, I mean, it sounds great. It's got some really cool stuff on the second disc, and it has some pretty cool packaging. And yes, I did keep the hype sticker. Most of the time, I always try to keep the hype stickers if I can. Let's see, we got Rock and Roll Over. Then, of course, we have the special edition of Love Gun. This does have the magnet, because they were trying to recreate what it would have looked like in the 70s if you got it on LP. Now, we got the solo albums, which all of them except for Ace's suck. But here's a little tip. If you're wondering which order they go in, some people think it doesn't matter, but check out the catalog numbers. By the catalog numbers, it goes Gene, Ace, Peter, Paul. There you go. Music from The Elder, Unmasked, Creatures of the Night, the 40th anniversary edition. And then, of course, we got the 80s Kiss albums, which they suffered a lot in the 80s. Let me just focus on this shelf right here so people can see what I have. Let's see, Hot in the Shade, an ungodly abomination that begs for apocalypse. I fucking hate that album. Carnival of Souls, not Kiss as Kiss. They were definitely following trends there. Psycho Circus, I didn't even open this one, but yeah. And by the way, this was promoted as a reunion album. All four members only played together on like one song, and then I think they sang together on another one. So yeah, very confusing, very misleading, but hey, that's the whole history of Kiss, isn't it? Bunch of lies, bunch of revisionist bullshit, whatever. Okay, we've got KMFDM. They started off kind of bad, and then they got better as they went. I'd say the first classic album they did was Naive, and then in the 90s, everything they touched turned to gold. Like this one. So cool. And then, of course, we got Opium. I know it's mostly remade from what would have been their first demo, but it's still really awesome. If I remember correctly, they had some of the tracks, and then other parts of the tape were damaged, destroyed from a house fire. See, we've got How Ruck. This one still has the hype sticker. I really love the song Professional Killer. The last great KMFDM album, in my opinion. Extra Volume 1. This has a lot of the singles like More and Faster, Virus, stuff like that. Creator, Coma of Souls, original pressing. Creator, Violent Revolution. It was a violent revolution. Okay, we're going on the bottom shelf here. Almost finished with panel 3. A fan sent me this one. Thank you so much. He included a note with it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Bug Boy. And since Caius are one of my favorite bands, we have Sons of Caius. This is more than likely a bootleg, but hey, I'm happy to have it. Blues for the Red Sun, a hard album to beat. And then, of course, you have Sky Valley, and you have And the Circus Leaves Town, an underrated Caius album. So good. And so dark. The song Spaceship Landing. Whew. See, Caius and Queens of the Stone Age. It's a split album. And it is quite worth having if you can get your hands on one. This is the Caius Greatest Hits album, but it's a little misleading because while it does have a couple big hits, it's mostly a rarities and B-sides album. So it's worth having even if you already own the studio albums. You know, because this has a bunch of stuff that's not on those. We have L7, one of the more obnoxious fan bases of any show I've seen. But the music was great, the band was great that night. Yeah. Lacuna Coil, special edition of this one. And what's this? Oh yeah, Laibach. Classic. More classics. We got Lard. More Lard. See, 70s Rock Must Die. And what do we have here? Same vein, same people, Lead into Gold. Yep, Paul Barker's side project. Life is a tale told by an idiot. Yep, he was selling these when he was on tour opening for Skinny Puppy. And we got some Lebanon Hanover. Oh, yes. Awesome international goth band. It's really awesome to listen to, you know, stuff like Gallo Dance. And we have more on Panel 4. Panel 4 on Tower 1, Top Shelf. Here's what I have. Continuing with Lebanon Hanover. Most of these albums I actually found for, I think, $3 a piece at McKay's. And then one of them I had to buy separately. That's this one. I really like this album. I know a lot of people don't. Let's see what else. We have Left Hand Solution. Let's see, Legendary Pink Dots. A fan sent this to me. Same guy who sent me the Fetus stuff earlier. Thank you. Thank you so much. Legendary Pink Dots. What's this one, since we're talking about Legendary Pink Dots? Okay, so let's see. Lisa Gerrard's solo album, If You're Into Dead Can Dance. If I'm not mistaken, this came out after Dead Can Dance went on their hiatus. Now, like Typo Negative, we have London After Midnight. You know how Typo Negative writes music for girls? Well, London After Midnight's the same way. These guys definitely knew who their target audience were. They knew who were listening to the albums. So, you know, next time you have Baby Girl over and, you know, you guys are smoking some ganja, maybe put this on and maybe things will go pretty well for the both of you. See, we've got Oddities 2. That's the re-release version. Of course, for London After Midnight, there are a million different versions of these albums with different artworks. Original pressings, remasters, remixes lately. Yeah, just listen to London After Midnight. It's good stuff. Now, I have 2 copies of Lords of Acid Lust. I bought this one specifically because it comes with a concert ticket from Grand Rapids, Michigan in March of '95, a place called the Orbit Room. The Orbit Room was torn down a few years ago. And I just like owning CDs that have tickets for that reason because, well, they're time capsules, if you will. So this one has the bonus tracks. See, we got Voodoo You, which pound for pound, I think, is their best album. Can't show the artwork here, but we've got Our Little Secret, excellent stuff. Heaven is an Orgasm. Expand Your Head, which is remixes. Farstucker. This one has, I want to say Venus as the bonus track. There are versions that have another song as bonus tracks. We've got Greatest Hits. We've got Private Parts, which is basically a Greatest Hits album with Deb singing the songs instead of Nikki. So yeah, this one was a little hard to find because this only came out in Europe. Then, of course, we got Deep Chills, Tales of Debauchery, which is audio from the Heaven is Coming video. Pretty in Kink, the 2-disc version. A little hard to find, but worth it if you can find it. Second shelf, we have Lords of the New Church. This was Steve Bader's band after the Dead Boys. Considered early goth, really good stuff. We have the Lost Highway soundtrack, which has a whole bunch of awesome stuff. The Perfect Drug by 9 Inch Nails. It's got Smashing Pumpkins. It's got Rammstein. It's got David Bowie. Yeah, totally worth checking out. A lot of really cool stuff. The Love and Rockets collection. I'm okay with Love and Rockets. Not one of my favorites, but here are the albums. They're nice to have, you know. Let's see, next we have Love Like Blood. They were a German goth band, and from what I've seen, this seems to be considered their best album, but they've had many great albums. I just don't have them yet. But this album, An Irony of Fate, definitely worth checking out. Lestravi, Rest in Peace, cool black metal from Florida. I saw them on their final tour before they disbanded. Let's see, Magazine. Got the first 2 albums. The Lights Pulls Out of Me. I got this because Ministry covered it on one of their albums. March Violets collection. Classic goth band from the UK. Palace of Infinite Darkness. So it's 5 discs full of stuff. And it's cheap. So there you go. Marilyn Manson. I've been on a Marilyn Manson kick lately because I saw him a couple weeks ago in Charlotte. So All those old memories of all these old albums and what they meant to me have been coming back. Smells Like Children. Some people don't like it, but in the right mindset, it's pretty awesome. You know, you gotta listen to it for the right reasons. You know, you don't listen to it the same way you would listen to this one, you know. Now, my personal favorite is actually Mechanical Animals. His best vocal work, the best art direction, and probably his best produced. Also, his most rounded set of songs, because this only has 14 songs, as opposed to Hollywood, which has 19. Although I do really love Hollywood. And then you got Golden Age of Grotesque, when he started doing this burlesque stuff, and it just didn't really work for the band. It's like, just look at live footage from the era. It's like, am I looking at a metal band, or am I looking at Batman Beyond villains? Seriously. Even Eat Me, Drink Me's art concept worked better than that. And actually, this one right here, Marilyn Manson was the first artist I ever got in actual trouble for listening to. When I was living with my dad and stepmom, my mother burned me a copy of Lest We Forget. She said, "Here's something your father isn't going to like." Needless to say, he did not like it. Long story short, these Masters of Misery, which is Black Sabbath, an earache tribute. Got some really cool bands on here, like Cathedral, Anal Cunt, Fudge Tunnel. Yeah, it's worth getting. Got Massacre, if you can deal with their in real life whining and arguing with each other in the press. This is a really cool album, and I actually like this blue version better than I like the pink version. It looks kind of dumb. And then, of course, we got Massive Attack. This is the 2012 mix and master, but sounds pretty good to my ears. Protection, it's got some good songs on it, but No Protection, I actually prefer. Whew. And, of course, if you like No Protection, Mad Professor also did the second disc of Mezzanine, if you get the anniversary edition. It is worth owning this anniversary edition if you just want those, because, well, they're pretty awesome. Continuing on this shelf, we have Massive Attack, 100th Window, Mayhem, Death Crush, Mayhem, De Mysterious, the MC5. Kick out the jams, motherfucker! Yeah, uncensored version. Fucking awesome. Then, of course, we have MDFMK. That was when KMFDM sort of took a hiatus for a couple of years, so this is KMFDM backwards. And it's a really good listen, I'd say. Megadeth, Killing Is My Business. This version has these boots, uncensored. That's good, because that album has comically been re-released to death, and there are a million versions. Some of them have these boots, some of them don't. Some of them have it censored, some of them have it re-recorded. This one, I just wanted to have the original as intended. Well, technically not as intended, still sounds like shit, but hey, all the songs are intact. Of course, you got Peace Sells, So Far So Good So What, Rust in Peace, all originals. And of course, you'd have this one before it was expanded with more songs. This only has 8 tracks on it, and I'm okay with that. 99 Ways to Die, hard to beat. I was in 6th grade when this album came out, so quite glad to have it, and that's about as new as I want to go. Let's see, we got the Melvins, Houdini, yeah, Honey Bucket, great stuff. Stoner Witch, my favorite Melvins. Stag, very weird album. Then we got the Trilogy, The Maggot, Bootlicker, Crybaby. And we have some mentors. El Duce. Yeah, we got this one. And we have To the Max. And we got some Mephisto Waltz, which was autographed by Barry, because I got it from his Bandcamp. Let's see, we also got this one. And I have a couple more Mephisto Waltz albums. So, on to the next shelf. Mephisto Waltz. And more Mephisto Waltz. That were given us freebies because I ordered the other albums. Let's see, we got some Merciful Fate. Melissa and Don't Break the Oath are originals. The Beginning is also an original. And so is this one. And the rest of these, I just got whatever was available to me. And I have all of them. I even have 9, which kind of sucked. Let's see, Midnight, Complete and Total Hell. Shocks of Violence. This one has more tracks than the LP. Have Mind Rot, Dawning. Ooh, I love this album. Love this album so much. They don't really make metal like that anymore. You know, even Soul, it's more polished than Dawning, but man, like, it was just such unique music, you know? Then, of course, we've got Ministry. Yeah, some Ministry. Everybody's favorite album for some reason with Sympathy. I don't get it, but okay. Twitch, I think, is even better. Rape and Honey was iconic. And we have Filth Pig, which was autographed by Al Jorgensen and Paul Barker themselves. One of my favorite albums of all time. The replay value is high, and I will pop that fucker in any day. You got Greatest Fits, you got Sphincter, which, in my opinion, is actually a better live album than In Case You Didn't Feel Like Showing Up. Why? Because the track listing, to me, is a little better. Well, better, I mean, it has songs from Filth Pig, so, you know, there's a little bit of bias there. Of course, we have the shelf below it. Some more Ministry. Let's see, we got 12-inch singles, the 2014 version that has a second disc. And here's what's on it. Of course, I already own the tracks box, so this is technically a double. I don't need this necessarily, but it's nice to have. Of course, we have Americant. That's as new as I want to go. Minor Threat, complete discography. Miranda Sex Garden. Yep, this one is called Suspiria. And the one that has Peep Show is this one. I love that song. Such a unique band. It's really cool. Of course, you got the Misfits, because in addition to the Coffin box set, which was kind of a mess, you still have to have some of the albums as standalone releases. For instance, Static Age. There are a couple extra songs on the standalone release that are not in the box set. I have Earth AD separately for some reason. I don't know why. American Psycho. It's alright. Got the Japanese version of Famous Monsters. And this one has a bonus track. Has Devil Doll. We got Cuts from the Crypt, too. I used to have a stickered retail version of 12 Hits from Hell that I had framed, and then I sold that one and just got this one as a bootleg because, I mean, why, there's no need to spend that much money on a CD, honestly. But it's an incredible album, and I'm glad that I have it in any capacity. Now, we got The Mission. The guy's voice kind of drives me nuts. They were sort of an offshoot of Sisters of Mercy. You know, some of the band members kind of split off and created their own band. That was The Mission. Got their stuff up to Grains of Sand. And I want to like this band. They have great songs, but like the guy's voice, it's like a more overwrought saxophone guy from the Lost Boys. It's like, calm down, dude. Let's see, Modern English. Really love that album. Monster Magnet, Spine of God. Excellent psychedelic garage rock. You know, the song Ozium. Had many awesome evening walks with this one. Dopes to Infinity. This was the beginning of their MTV Darling era. I much prefer the earlier Monster Magnet with McBain. Of course, there's the Tab EP. There's the Monster Magnet EP. I don't have those yet. I'll get to them eventually. Power Trip. Japanese version, but it's a newer Japanese version, so it's not much different from what's already out there in America. On this shelf, we have the mighty Morbid Angel, Abominations of Desolation, the shelved album that was recorded before Altars of Madness. And speaking of altars, the ridiculous close-up on the album artwork. What the fuck were they thinking? Of course, we got this one, which I like even more. And then, of course, we've got Mortal Kombat! Dun, 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 dun. So many great songs on this. Sister Machine Gun, Typo Negative, KMFDM, Napalm Death. It was also really cool for PragaCon and Oliver Adams to play Mortal Kombat when they opened for Lords of Acid on the 2024 tour. The Karabi Crew album, the only one that I give a shit about listening to from beginning to end, because I really don't want to listen to Vince Neil's wedding. It's like they have songs that I like, but I wouldn't want to listen to a whole Motley Crue album, you know what I mean? See Motorhead on Parole, the 40th anniversary of the first album, which debatably blows the shit out of the original. I'm using the word debatably a lot in this. Debatably, I should stop using the word debatably. Let's see, and as far as the studio albums, I wasn't really picky about what versions I wanted to collect. They're sort of a hodgepodge from different times. I have the live albums Hammersmith and Everything Louder Than Everything Else, which I like even more because it has 2 discs, sound quality is really good, and yeah, it's just a really fun listen. Now, I was specific about collecting the Inferno album because Inferno, apparently on one of the newer versions, there's a glitch in one of the songs. So I bought an original, brand new and sealed, and I didn't have to worry about it. Let's see, we've got Bad Magic, Serious Bad Magic. Seriously Bad Magic. It's got some extra songs. Motorhead's final album, May He Rest Well. Hard to believe that guy's dead, still. Let's see, Morbicon. Nice black metal that was released by the great Tank Crimes. And of course, we got Mrs. Piss. Nice Chelsea Wolfe side project. Municipal Waste is Gonna Fuck You Up. Got Waste 'Em All, original pressing. Art of Partying, Slime and Punishment. And we got some Murder Dolls. This is the deluxe version of Beyond the Valley of the Murder Dolls. It comes with a DVD. Yeah, when you watch the DVD, it is very early 2000s. The world was a much different place. And I have the Japanese version of Women and Children Last. And what's cool about this is there are 2 parental advisory stickers on this album. Because apparently Joey wanted 2 warning labels just to really hammer the point. And Joey got things done, so... Japanese, it comes with a DVD, and it comes with some extra songs. It was a little difficult to find, but I'm quite glad that I found it. So, let's see, we've got My Dying Bride, Trinity, one of my favorite My Dying Bride releases. Also, Turn Loose the Swans, classic doom metal. Angel in the Dark River. I have some memories attached to this one. I remember going on a train ride once when I was a teenager, and that album was playing in my headphones. I just stared out the window. Then we have this one, simply because I just saw it in a used CD store and wanted to pick it up. Cooler Than Jesus. Some Thrill Kill Cult. Original pressings, of course. Sexplosion. The great Betty Page. Oh, yes, she has my heart forever. 13 Above the Night. Hit and Run Holiday, and that is as new as I have for Thrill Kill Cult. Nail Bomb. Oh, yeah. Fucking badass. You know, one of Max Cavalier's side projects. So we got Napalm Death, Scum, 90s pressing. Yeah, when I was 14 years old, I used to listen to the Napalm Death albums, you know, on the bus rides. You know, sometimes I would time the albums that I would listen to in the morning, depending on how much time it took for me to get ready. And I also factored in the time it took to get to school from the bus stop. So there was that, of course. Got this one, which is just awesome, sludgy. Nashville Pussy, great album. Nativity in Black, classic Black Sabbath tribute album. So many great songs. And then, of course, you got the shitty second one, which, yeah, most of these songs aren't really worth listening to. Trust me. Nausea, Extinction, The Second Coming. They have reissued the album since then, and I'm quite glad because this was not cheap at the time I bought it. But now more people have access to it, and that's good. Necrophagia, death metal from the 1980s. It predates Scream Bloody Gore. How can you go wrong? Of course, we got Necrot, great newer death metal, albums like Mortal and Lifeless Birth. Yep. Drill the Skull. All right, we were talking about Fields of the Nephilim earlier. Here is the Nephilim, which this was a sort of industrial metal album that came out in the 90s. It was recorded in, I think, 92 and didn't come out till 96. But Carl's got his hands all over it. It's his baby, so go for it. Got New Order singles, the 2015 version, because that version is not as loud and compressed as the 2005 version. So yeah, you have a remastered version of a greatest hits album. And this is pretty much all I want from New Order. Then you got Nigel Pepper. Really cool album. Really cool album. Just gotta be old enough to buy it. Then, of course, we've got Nightwish, one of my favorite bands. I really love Nightwish. I have just about every album they've done, I think. Once, Imaginarum. And again, these are hodgepodges. You know, I didn't really focus on original pressings, tour versions, whatever. Some of these are not opened because many of them I ripped from a friend of mine who has these albums. I went to the record release party for Yesterwind, and it didn't really help my opinion of the album. It's okay. It's just, you know, the mix on it is pretty terrible. And it's funny seeing the excuses people make for how bad the mix is. They're like, well, you know, Van Halen, they had the guitars recorded on one side and the bass recorded on the other. Dude, this is Nightwish. Seriously, it's supposed to be this big, bombastic, loud, powerful metal band, and it sounds like shit. You got this powerhouse of a vocalist like Floor Jansen, and her vocals are buried. You can hear the fucking orchestra louder than you can hear Floor. Come on now. So you've got Nihilist, the pre-entombed demos, which some would say are better than what made it onto the albums. They definitely have a raw energy to them that is unmatched. Of course, we got Nile, first album, In the Beginning, Darkened Shrines, the Japanese version of Annihilation of the Wicked. Fucking badass album. The Japanese version has a bonus track, which I don't think is exactly worth the price, but, you know, if you collect stuff like this, it's cool to have. I mean, hey, this OBI strip. OBI strips are cool. Those Whom the Gods Detest, probably my favorite Nile album. 9 Inch Nails, I have 2 copies of Pretty Hate Machine. I have one as a play copy and one as just an extra copy, you know, in case something happens to it. Let's see, the Sin single that I bought simply because it has Get Down, Make Love. Yes, I have heard the Queen version, and I prefer the 9 Inch Nails version. Broken, probably the greatest EP ever made. The replay value is high. I've been listening to it since I was a teenager, and I just love it to death. And if The Downward Spiral isn't my favorite album of all time, it's definitely in the top 5, because this just, it never gets old for me. You know, I love every second on this album. You know, it's been with me through a lot, you know, moves, breakups, phases in my life, and I can still listen to it, and it still speaks to me. I have 2 versions of Further Down the Spiral. There's the American version, and then there's the European version that has a slightly different track listing. Personally, I kind of wish that I could just kind of mesh them together, so that way I could get the best of both worlds, but hey, that's what playlists are for now. See, Things Falling Apart, the Lone remix album for The Fragile, and my favorite live album of all time, And All That Could Have Been. This is the special edition that also has Still. Still is a great rainy day album. I love the reinterpreted versions of the songs. Something I Can Never Have, I think I like more on this than I do on Pretty Hate Machine. I don't know, it's slower, so it's more disorienting, and it's just so fucking raw. Then, of course, I have the UK version of With Teeth that has Home as a bonus track. Year Zero, and yes, this still has the sticker on the back. Back in 2007, if you called this number, there was a phone message that played for you. I swear, this album and its marketing was just so cool. Wow, brings me back. In addition to Year Zero, there is also Year Zero Remixed. It is a remix album, but also it comes with a disc of stems, so if you wanted to make remixes using Ableton or GarageBand or whatever you're working with, you could do that. At the time, on the 9 Inch Nails website, there were a lot of people who were taking these stems and they were doing their own remixes. It was just a really cool time to be a fan. And on top of that, you had Ghosts 1 through 4. Ghosts 1 was released for free on the website, and The Slip was also released totally for free. Man, it was just a really cool time to be a fan. I just don't have enough nice things to say about that band. This album, though, it's the only one that I don't like. I know a lot of people defend it, but I've tried. I've really tried. I got it the day it came out, and all these years later, it just doesn't do anything for me. The trilogy, however, not the actual events, Add Violence, Bad Witch, I love all 3 of them. So much great stuff. Let's see, you got Nirvana 2002, some fucking awesome Swedish death metal. Nita Strauss, Call of the Void. Wait, The Call of the Void. Yep, that's what it's called. I saw her on this tour promoting the album, and when you go see her live, she is excellent. So, that's why I bought this album. Yep. Good old Nitzreb, some Nox Arcana. Nice albums that seem to have a bit of a concept. Oasis, overrated as fuck, but there are a couple good songs on there that I like. And we have some classic Obituary. We got Slowly We Rot. These are all digipacks, by the way, from Listenable Records. I had to buy all of these internationally. We got Inked in Blood, from when I saw them on that tour. Got 10,000 Ways to Die. Got the self-titled album. Yep, Obituary. Just can't go wrong with Obituary. I'm missing the Ralph albums, but frankly, they're not very good albums anyway, so I don't care. And then, of course, we've got Ogre. Yeah, love me some Ogre. Ogre, Sunny Psyop, and this one was autographed. Cheers, friend. Oh, thank you. All right, you lovely people, we are now on Tower number 2, Panel 1. There are only 2 panels for the CDs on this one. I'm going to close up here on the top shelf so people can see what I have. Mostly some Origin, but if I can focus my hand back, we have more Ogre. Ogre was on the last panel. We've got Undeveloped, which is basically a companion album to Skinny Puppy's Handover album, if you know the story behind it. And I happen to have a copy of Tricks. This was not cheap. I paid about $80 for it. This had a kind of complicated release. They crowdfunded the album, and then Pledge Music, the website they used to crowdfund it, basically stole their money, so it barely came out. Yeah, pretty sad because the album's actually kind of cool. So, we got the mighty Origin, one of the fastest bands in the world. The guy who sold me this one on eBay was a bit of a prick because he listed this as like new and there were scratches all over it, so I messaged him about it. And he was like, blah, 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 blah. Man, what a dick. Total prick. Hick a dick, stick a tick, bim and a mick. Pick a dick, what a fucking prick. Okay. My little freestyle session is over. Let's see, this is pretty cool. Chaosmos. I really like the new logo on this one, and the album is pretty awesome. A band as old as Origin, and the new stuff is still really good. See, we've got Ozzy, of course, gotta have Ozzy in your collection. These are all originals because infamously, in the early 2000s, these albums had re-recorded drums, re-recorded bass. They took the echo effect off of Ozzy's voice and Bark at the Moon. The Ultimate Sin, of course, gets ignored by everybody, but I love this album. The original No More Tears. Yes, even the original No More Tears sounds better than the remastered one. And of course, you've got Osmosis, which I like the first half of the album. The second half kind of sucks, and that's as new as I've got. So we got some Pantera. I have the bootlegs for the Glam Terra albums. You know, if those guys are going on tour now with Zakk Wylde and Charlie Benante, or Benanti, however you pronounce his name, maybe they should reissue these albums. It's so much money that they're missing out on, and people want to hear these. Imagine hearing first-generation copies of these albums. I mean, they still wouldn't be amazing except for power metal, but hey. And then, of course, you got Cowboys from Hell! Original pressing, because the remastered version that came out in 2010 is really loud and really harsh. Vulgar display of power, can't beat that one. And let's go to the shelf below. We're talking about Pantera remasters. I didn't actually like Reinventing the Steel until I heard the Terry Date remix. Okay, so this is what happens when you open the CD case. Isn't that fucking awesome? Okay, and then of course you open these and you get pictures of the guys. I just wish that the discs were housed in plastic holders instead of in the sleeves, because then you run the risk of causing friction scratches and possibly tearing up the case. This one's in reasonably good shape, but hey. Now, my personal favorite Pantera album is The Great Southern Trendkill. I love how dark it is, I love how weird it is. I did a whole video on that one. See, another Butthole Surfers project that came out in the early 90s. This is Paul Leary's solo album, The History of Dogs. I can't get past the vocals on this one. Sorry, Paul. I love you, man. You're a great guitar player, one of my favorites, but wow. Okay, we got Paradise Lost, legendary British doom metal. The Gothic album. I need Shades of God. That album was awesome. We got Pentagram, the crazy Bobby Liebling, and I feel like I was ahead of the game because I've been into Pentagram long before any memes have been made about that guy. Got Be Forewarned. First Days Here. Got Perfect Circle. Yeah, Maynard James Keenan. The original Pig Destroyer, Prowler in the Yard. I have the original because apparently they lost the vocal tracks when they were remastering this one, so I wanted to have the album fully intact. Even newer albums aren't immune to remastering and remixing problems. Let's see, we've got Phantom Limb. Let's see, we've got Book Burner. This is the special edition that has the mini CD. See, for Pig Destroyer's Book Burner, you have the main disc, and then you have this guy, which is a mini disc. Don't see many of those these days. Pigface Gub. I used to have a bunch of Pigface stuff, but as cool as it is to see all these different people collaborating, it just isn't really my thing musically. But this album has Suck, which features the mighty Trent Reznor. He would cover that song on his Broken EP, although I say that since he helped write it, it's technically not a cover. I mean, I don't know. It's just nitpicking. Pilorian, that was John's post-Agalloch side project his post-Agalloch project that lasted about 5 minutes. They released one album and it was awesome. We got Pink Floyd The Wall. I'm not too picky about the Pink Floyd masterings, but let's see, Division Bell. This one I do think does sound better than the original. It's not as flat. And we got some Pixies. I really love Surfer Rosa. Probably my favorite Pixies album, although I can't show the artwork here. Let's see, Bossa Nova. Let's see, this one was really good. I just wish that it had more Kim Deal on it. Let's see, there's Pixies at the BBC, another one I probably can't show the artwork for. And then there's the Purple album. Oh yeah, this was really cool. And let's see, we got Population Reduction, one of the bands that got me into underground metal. May they rest well. Awesome death grind. Go check it out, please. And we've got Portal. I love me some Portal. I found these at McKay's. I like the way these are packaged. They look really cool. And I just love the overall concept of that band. See, we've got Portishead Dummy. We've got Portishead, and in the DVDs, I have Portishead live in New York City. So let's see, let's talk about Possessed. Got this one over here, Remasters of the Metal, remastered by Combat in '99. This one comes with the Eyes of Horror EP, so I would say that this is the definitive version of Beyond the Gates. I just wish that it was mixed better. We got this one, Revelations of Oblivion, which I liked, but it isn't in my constant rotation. And now we get to the fun stuff. Of course, we got Prick over here. I've been looking for a copy of his second album for a long time, and unfortunately, they are expensive and difficult to find. But let's talk about the Praga Khan stuff for a minute. Okay, so here are all of the remastered Praga Khan albums. Conquers Your Love, Pragmatic, that's probably my favorite. I also really like Freakazoid, and I like Mind Games quite a bit. I got all of these for $50 on the European Lords of Acid website. I didn't know if it was an old link and maybe they hadn't updated it. But hey, this many albums for $50 plus shipping, I couldn't beat it. Let's see, and also I have the Sounds of Sin 3 CD collection. For the uninitiated, this type of music and early Lords of Acid was called New Beat. It was a form of electronic music in Belgium that lasted a couple of years, and in the case of Praga Khan and Oliver Adams and Nicky, they released a whole bunch of stuff under a bunch of different names. A lot of that stuff never got pressed to CD, so here you get a good selection of most of the stuff, or most of the singles anyway. On the shelf below, we have some Primus. Suck on This is probably my favorite Primus release. I also really enjoy Pork Soda. And the guy from the hamburger train, right? Yeah. Let's see, we got Tales from the Punch Bowl. We have the Brown album. Comes in a brown sort of gold CD case. I kind of miss when bands did colored CD cases like this. You don't see that a whole lot these days. Let's see, Animals Should Not Try to Act Like People. That is their CD and DVD release that came out a couple of years after they went on hiatus. I'm not much of a fan of their newer stuff, but they're still very fun to see live. See, the Project Hate 1999, in a rather left field move, this has Joe Bench from Bolt Thrower. Not really the type of album you would expect to see her appear in, but hey. See, we've got Pygmy Children. Somebody sent me this as a gift. See, Queens of the Stone Age, the first album with the original artwork. Have the 2-disc version of Rated R by Queens of the Stone Age. Nicotine, Valium, Vicodin, marijuana, ecstasy, and alcohol. And the ultimate driving album is still Songs for the Deaf for me. I love this album, got it for Christmas when I was a kid, and yeah, very fun. Let's see, Era Vulgaris. Dance, 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 dance. Let's see, this one, Times New Roman. This one was not opened. We have the original Queensryche stuff. Originals because you know the deal already. The remastered ones really suck. I know that this one in particular is really quiet, but I would still rather have really quiet than way too loud. Let's see, the shelf below, we've got Operation Mindcrime! One of the ultimate concept albums, and my pick for the last good Queensryche album would be this one, Promised Land. I don't care about anything they've done after that. Let's see, we've got Quiet Riot. The first 2 songs on it are really good. The rest of the album kind of stinks. Let's see, The Very Best of Rainbow. Nice little collection here. Have this version of Rammstein's first album. Looks a bit like a gay porno. Let's see, there's this one, this deluxe version, which has some extra songs. So you got the standard version from this one. And we have some Ramones. They remastered their stuff up to Too Tough to Die. And let's see, the late 80s albums were not remastered. Which is a shame because this one really needs a remix. Desperately. Now, some people might say that It's Alive was the best live Ramones album. Yeah, it's pretty good, but I dare say that the ultimate live Ramones album is still New York City 1978. It's the same tour, only this is a soundboard recording of their New York City show. You hear the dropouts, you hear missed cues, you hear all sorts of cool stuff. This is a live album as raw as it gets, and it is awesome. The set list is really cool. Let's see, we've got Greatest Hits Live, which you might be thinking, well, is it a Greatest Hits album or is it a live album? Well, it is a live album where they play their greatest hits. Yeah, no shit, right? It's a cash grab release. Let's see, there have been many versions of Loco Live. This is the one that I have. I say don't really go out of your way to get specific versions of this one unless you really care that much. I don't. Let's see, this is an Autopsy side project from the Metalhead box that I got one time. Let's see, Repulsion, the 2-disc version that was on Relapse. It's worth it to hear the demos. Let's see, we've got Revolting Cocks, the original Big Sexy Land, because the one that appears in the Ministry Tracks box is really fucking loud. Although that one is really fucking loud, it does have a different track listing than this original CD of Live You Goddamn Son of a Bitch. Let's see, Beers, Steers, and Queers, and Cowboys. Yeah! This album was not included in the tracks box, but it is still worth having. Just to hear Dwayne's little riffing at the end. Yeah, I know Bill Rieflin. He's always wearing those cool leather jackets. I'm gonna steal one of those jackets. I'm gonna steal his goddamn drums, too. Let's see, Rigor Mortis, while we're talking about Revco and Ministry. Let's see, Ripping Corpse, awesome early 90s death metal. Roadrunner United. This was my generation's metal release, but I did not hear it when it came out. This is the one that has the DVD, and when I got it, probably a year ago, I was quite happy to finally catch up with it. You know, I'd love to see labels do stuff like this now. Kind of difficult logistically, and when people want to collab on stuff, they usually want to do collabs on YouTube videos and over the internet. It's not real full-on crazy projects like this, and I kind of miss that era of music, you know? See, Roger Waters, Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking. Some versions have the censor bar, some don't. See, Rolling Stones, 40 Licks. I find with pretty much every Rolling Stones Greatest Hits album, they're always including songs that I want and then missing songs that, yeah, like they have songs that I want and then they're missing songs that I want. So it might be wise for me to get another Greatest Hits album because there are a couple things here missing. That's okay, though. I don't really want to listen to a whole Rolling Stones album from beginning to end, so I'm okay with just getting a Greatest Hits album. See, we've got Rosetta Stone. This is 8 discs, and I really just wanted the album An Eye for the Main Chance. However, buying this box set was actually much cheaper than buying the album on its own, so you also get the singles and you get the Misery Lab stuff, which was his project after Rosetta Stone was put on break. And then we get into Rush. Oh yeah, love me some Rush. I didn't get into them until after Neil died, which is a shame because they leave me with a good mood every time I listen to them. So, most of these are the 97 remasters. I wasn't too picky. Caress of Steel, that's an original. Let's see, probably my favorite Rush live album, because it actually is a live album and there's not too much studio doctoring. Let's see, and yes, I do enjoy some of the 80s stuff. I love Signals. Power Windows is super cheesy. Sounds like Olympic music, but I mean, if you're in the right mindset, it's okay. See, we got this box set, which has Vapor Trails remixed. I did try to listen to the original Vapor Trails, and it was just so bad on my ears. Yep, so the albums it has Presto, Roll the Bones, Counterparts, Test for Echo, Vapor Trails remixed, the Feedback EP, and Snakes and Arrows. This cost me $30. Let's see, Clockwork Angels, brand new, still hadn't opened it. Nice Skinny Puppy post-project with Ogre and I want to say Martin Atkins. Some Sam Hain. This has a tape dub of the original Unholy Passion mix. So it doesn't particularly sound good, but hey, if you want it, here it is. It's not like Danzig's going to ever reissue these albums. No, he's going to reissue the albums that nobody gives a shit about. Who wants to listen to Danzig 7 and Circle of Snakes? Man, those albums suck. Let's see, Satyricon. This was one of the first black metal albums I ever heard, and I love it to death. This is Armageddon! I swear, I need some more black metal in this collection. See, we've got Sepultura. Yes, the Roadrunner albums from 1985 to 1996. Morbid Visions and Bestial Devastation. It's got Roots. It's got Chaos AD, my personal favorite. Let's see, we've got Nevermind the Bollocks from probably the most overrated punk band ever. But, I mean, you still have to have it in your collection. It was important for punk. But, man, if I'm going to listen to punk, I'm going to listen to something like Strung Up or Discharge or something, you know? We have this soundtrack from a rather crummy movie. It has a Guar song on there. And that is the sole reason you would own this. Yeah. She passed away. Okay, I remembered to turn the microphone on, and we have Siege, probably the definitive version of their release, Drop Dead. This is the Japanese version. Has some pretty cool tracks on it, really influential if you're into grindcore and other hardcore stuff. Let's see, Sister Machine Gun, Byrne. If you rewind the CD on the CD player, you can hear a pre-track, a hidden track, a cover of Strange Days by The Doors. I had more Sister Machine Gun at one time. I don't know why I got rid of them. I need them again. These are all original Susie and the Banshees CDs. Of course, we've got Once Upon a Time, which has some stuff that wasn't on the albums. A Kiss in the Dream House, of course. Some of these were not cheap, as you can imagine. Susie albums are a little hard to find anyway, because she just didn't have the same commercial appeal in the States that The Cure did. So, If you can find an original Susie album, go get it. Don't hesitate, because they sound really good. Tinderbox is my personal favorite Susie album, and I also really like Peep Show. It's a dark carnival of an album. There's a song on here called Ornaments of Gold. It's not really known to be one of her hits or anything, but god damn if it isn't good. Then, of course, we got The Rapture, which I think really sucks. Let's see, her solo album that came out in the 2000s. This is a remastered version of it. And we have The Sisterhood, an offshoot of Sisters of Mercy. 2, 5, 0, 0, 0. Sisters of Mercy, we have the albums remastered. There are many different versions of the first album, and this one, if I'm not mistaken, is the original mix, before Eldritch went and remixed it. Of course, you also have to have Some Girls Wander by Mistake, which has their stuff pre the first album. And you have A Slight Case of Overbombing, which has the 1992 version of Temple of Love. Yes! An official release of the BBC sessions. Jolene, 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 Jolene. The sound quality is so crisp. It's been available as a bootleg for many decades, but here it is, official release. And then we've got Sisters of Suffocation. Excellent Dutch death metal. This one, I gave money for the crowdfunding campaign so I could have the CD. Okay, and now we are on the Skinny Puppy shelf, and I spent a lot of time collecting these. But first, let's talk about Skatin' Eggs. You might remember this band was an opener on a couple Ministry tours. This album comes with a condom. The name of the album is Stupid People Shouldn't Breed, and of course, that is what they put on the rubber itself. Yep. Very nice. I wonder what would happen if I opened that condom now. It would probably, explode into a dust cloud because of how old it is. Don't use that one, kids. Let's see. Skid Row, didn't open this one, but it was $5, had to have it. Slave to the Grind, this is the one that has Get the Fuck Out and not Beggar's Day. And we've got Skinny Puppy, the mighty Skinny Puppy, one of my favorite bands ever. Got Mind the Perpetual Intercourse. Some of these albums are a little difficult to find on CD. I used to have them on vinyl many years ago, and I sold them when I got out of vinyl. I kind of wish I didn't, because those albums are worth a fortune now, on account of the newer vinyl pressings really fucking suck. Too Dark Park, of course. Legendary album. Let's see, Back and Forth, Volume 2. Last Rites, one of my favorite albums ever. In my top 10, I never, ever get tired of listening to it. The Process, I know some people don't like it. I really love the sound quality. I love the synth work. It's just a really cool album. I don't know, maybe it's a generational thing, because it seems like people who were around at the time had mixed feelings about it. But people who got to listen to Skinny Puppy after that album and after the breakup, their opinions aren't quite as harsh, from what I've seen anyway. We've got Brap Volume 3. This is the European version that has Left Handshake. Yep, this is one of the few times that song has been officially released, because copyright stuff is different in Europe than it is in the United States. See, we've got Back and Forth Volume 5. It is a fucking gnarly live album. The sound quality is nuts. This was recorded for their reunion show in 2000. So yeah, definitely give this one a listen. And since the CD format couldn't hold all the songs, and also they had copyright issues with a couple songs, Hard Set Head got released on this, Back and Forth 6. It's from that same show. This, of course, also has some demos and stuff from that era, Greater Wrong of the Right, Mythmaker, Back and Forth Volume 7, which is pretty much The Process Part 2. Let's see. Live, Bootlegged, Broke, and Insolvent Seas. This has a really cool version of Assimilate. I was lucky to find a copy of Handover before it became ridiculously hard to find. I was not a fan of that album when I first heard it, but I really like it now. Let's see, we've got Screw, Burning in Water, Drowning in Flame, a nice Al Jorgensen produced project. Industrial metal, if you will. We have a really fun bottom shelf here. We have more Screw. This one I don't like quite as much. We've got some fucking Slayer. Yeah, Show No Mercy, the Digipacks. Let's see, this one's slightly bigger for some reason. This one's Live Undead and Haunting the Chapel. We've got Hell Awaits, which was the first Slayer album I ever heard. My personal favorite is probably South of Heaven. But of course, you can't go wrong with Rain and Blood. You know, people say it's their best album, and there's a reason for it. This is the... Well, it's a Japanese version of Decade of Aggression, but it's a newer version that doesn't have the bonus tracks that were included on the early 90s pressings. So this I got just because it was cheaper to get this one than it was to just get the standard version. But there's really nothing special about it. Got Undisputed Attitude. I have the Japanese version of God Hates Us All. It has 2 extra tracks. Payback's a bitch, motherfucker! And again, this was cheap. This was actually cheaper to buy than the standard American version, so this was the one that I happened to buy. Let's see, World Painted Blood with this artwork. Not an album I enjoy listening to, but hey, I wanted it. See, we got Sleep, Volume 1. This was before Sleep really came into their own. They came into their own on Sleep's Holy Mountain. Whew. I mean, what else do you have to say about that one? Then, of course, you got Dope Smoker. This is the version I have. Many different versions of Dope Smoker, and this is the one that I have. Never really heard Jerusalem. Then, of course, we got Smashing Pumpkins, an original Gish, remastered Siamese Dream, remastered Melancholy. I love this album. I really love this album. A lot. We are now on the second panel of Tower 2. It's winding down. Oh yeah, so we got some more Smashing Pumpkins, the infamous Adore album that I adore. I know a lot of people don't like it, but you have to be in the right mindset to listen to it. Then there's Machina. There are many songs on here that I like. I just wish that it was mastered better. Come on, Billy Corgan, let's release the remastered version. And we got some Specimen. Kiss, kiss, bang, bang! As classic goth as it gets. Batcave, anyone? Then we have this album. It's the look of mourning. You know, like how much more black can it get? The answer is none. None more black. You know, Spinal Tap. Soundtrack. Yeah. And as far as Spinal Tap goes, we have Break Like the Wind, which came out in the 90s. And we have Back from the Dead, which came out in the 2000s and is one of the best packaged CDs that I own. Holy shit. We were talking about Marilyn Manson a few minutes ago. Here is Lunchboxes and Chocolate Cows, which was released by, I want to say, Daisy back in the early 2000s. So this is some of the stuff pre-portrait, demo quality. So yeah, if you want to hear the evolution of Marilyn Manson, there you go. Let's see, there's Songs of the Witchblade, which my guy Chris recommended because this has some contributions from Mr. Peter Steele. That is pretty much the only reason I bought this, because I like comics, but I'm not much of a comic book guy, not as much as he is. So yeah, let's see, so Son of Sam. Features members of Sam Hain and AFI. Static Movement. This is basically the Frozen Autumn under a different name, so if you're doing any Frozen Autumn marathons, be sure to include this because it's really good. We got some Steel Panther. Oh boy. I mean, of course the albums don't compare to seeing them live, but if you want to laugh your ass off, you can't go wrong with some Steel Panther. Weenie, 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 weenie ride. Let's see, we got the Stooges. About as close to original punk as it can get. Some people say they're punk, some say they're garage rock. I say they're fucking awesome. We got this one. We got Funhouse, which is a little more experimental. A different band, if I'm not mistaken. We have the awesome Stormcrow, which was awesome cross sludge, kinda. I don't know, I'm probably fucking that up, but here's Massgrave and Stormcrow split. I really love Stormcrow. I wish they were still around. We got some Stormtroopers of Death. Got some Suffocation. I need more Suffocation. Can't believe this is still the only album of theirs that I own physically after all these years. Let's see, we got the Sugar Cubes, which I got this from an eBay lot where I was buying some Bjork albums. So this is the greatest hits. Got stuff like the birthday song. Surgical Meth Machine, another Ministry side project. Suspiria, Dance Floor Tragedy. Somebody sent this to me for free after finding this in a resale shop. And I'm glad they did, because on Discogs, this thing fetches high amounts. Really cool 90s goth. Sometimes it's by the numbers, but sometimes all you want is by the numbers. Let's see, we got some Swallow the Sun, one of my favorite bands. I've seen them twice. On the shelf below, we have some more Swallow the Sun, one of my favorite bands. I own all of the albums except for Shining. I did not like that one. My favorite is Songs from the North. It's 3 discs, and you might think that it would overstay its welcome, but no, each disc is really well done, I think. Moonflowers, I like that one a lot. I do not have Shining. However, when I saw them live promoting that album, those songs were so much better live than they were on the disc because the production was too slick, too polished. It didn't sound like them. And then we get into confusing territory with the Swans catalog. Here's the stuff I have. Swans are a bit of a pain in the ass to collect on CD. Some of these are newer pressings, some of these are older pressings. Some of these are from the 90s, some of these are from the 2010s, like this one right here. There are some copyright issues with this one, so here's what happened. Okay, the first disc on this, all the songs are included and they're in order. The second disc was when the songs are out of order and it's missing a couple songs. So, I mean, it still sounds better than what it would sound like if you were to get these EPs on separate discs. Well, Cop, that's an album, but let's see, Public Castration is a good idea. This, I think, is just a needle drop. Again, copyright issues. Let's see, Children of God, that's one of the newer pressings. White Light from the Mouth of Infinity, that is a 90s pressing. Great Annihilator, this one is from 2002. Soundtracks for the Blind, I don't think they fucked with this one. This also has one of Michael's solo albums. And we have The Beggar. I love Swans, but I'll be damned if collecting them isn't difficult. Let's see, we got Switchblade Symphony. I really love Switchblade Symphony. We have the first one, which is probably the best. The next two, which I didn't like quite as much, but I really like the live album. Live album's pretty cool, and there was a DVD also. I don't have that one, but last I checked, it's available on YouTube. Now this one, Scrapbook, this was a self-released EP that they put out in the 90s, and this got reissued by Cleopatra with some extra songs. So I was quite happy that I waited on that before buying it, because instead of spending $70 on it, I ended up spending like $15. Okay, Talking Heads, more songs about buildings and food. Okay, so on the shelf below, we have some more Talking Heads. My favorite of theirs is Remain in Light. The first half of the album is just magnificent. Second half of the album's pretty good too, but the first half has the great curve. Oh dear. 2 of the best guitar solos I ever heard on anything. And then, of course, starting with this one, they got kind of shitty. I think what happened was after Stop Making Sense, they pretty much ran out of steam and ran out of ideas. It's a good thing that they ended when they did. Stop Making Sense, I have on Blu-ray on the other panel. Let's see, Terrorizer, World Downfall, one of my favorite albums ever. It never gets old. And of course, we have Before the Downfall, which has demos and a couple unreleased things, like one song that was from the World Downfall sessions that never came out. And this is pretty cool because it has some really nice liner notes. Let's see, we got Testament, The Ritual. Got Theater of Tragedy, Velvet Darkness. I love this album. Can't show the artwork, unfortunately, but I do really like the artwork quite a bit. Let's see, Them Crooked Vultures. I remember when this came out. It was kind of a big deal. Thin Lizzy, Chinatown. I got this because I had this on vinyl. A friend of mine gave it to me when we were going to school together. And when I was getting rid of my records, I wanted to rebuy the album on CD. Just weird things like that. It's more of a memory thing than anything else. It is a good album, though. Let's see, we got This Comp Kills Fascists. The Relapse compilations. I miss when labels did compilations like this because they were really fun. You could hear about all these new bands that you might have never heard of before. A lot of really cool stuff on these. These This Mortal Coil albums were remastered in the early 2010s, and they come with an OBI strip. There was a box set that came out with them, and I missed that boat. However, the discs come housed like this. Very safe packaging, and the colors pop nicely on all 3 of them. Moving on, we have some Throbbing Gristle. As much as I am an industrial fan, and as much as I am a fan of extreme music and extreme art, you just can't get more extreme than Throbbing Gristle. Oh dear, industrial music for industrial people. Yep, that sounds about right. Got this one right here. I need more of their stuff, and I need some Coil, but this is what I got to work with now. And of course, we got 20 Jazz Funk Greats, which is funny right off the bat because there are only like 11 songs on the album itself. And then, of course, when you know the backstory behind the album cover, well, that just makes it even funnier. You know, because they're all looking like, oh, look at this nice little family portrait. But seriously, look up Beachy Head. That's the name of the cliff that they're on. You'll see. Beyond Life with Timothy Leary. I bought this because there is a Ministry song that was an outtake from the Filth Pig sessions. The song is called Lion's Mouth. Not a particularly good song, but hey, it's there. It's Ministry. Let's see, we were doing Talking Heads a minute ago. How about some Tom Tom Club? It's a pretty cool album. All sorts of interesting stuff going on there. Let's see, we've got Tool, we got Opiate, Undertow, Anima, my favorite, Lateralis. Continuing with some Tool, here is 10,000 Days with the 3D glasses. If you put the 3D glasses on and adjust them correctly, you can see the artworks come to life. Of course, we got some Tori Amos. I have 2 copies of Boys for Pele because one of them has a radio edit of one of the songs, and one of them has an album edit of one of the songs. I really hate when they do that, but hey, it is what it is. Let's see, Venus and Back, more like Penis and Back. Let's see, Scarlet's Walk, Toxic Holocaust, An Overdose of Death. Got some Trouble, nice classic American doom metal. The Skull, which is fucking awesome. And we have some more Trouble, Manic Frustration. This Japanese version, it's a newer pressing, which it was pretty cheap, so it was cool to have the OVI strip. Let's see, we got some Twin Tribes. Some really cool goth music, specifically Darkwave from Texas. I am missing their last album. This one's a remix album, but I will get on it at some point. I still need to see them live. Twisted Sister, Under the Blade, the special edition with the original mix. It says parental advisory on the bottom corner, but they still censor some of the, profanities. It's like, why did they do that? The cool thing is it does have a DVD, so you can watch some Twisted Sister playing live. See the remastered version of Stay Hungry. Not much of an improvement over the original, but I mean, I wanted it, so see this 3-in-1 album set. Twisted Sister, come out and play. And then, of course, we have the mighty Typo Negative. Aw, yeah, one of my favorite bands ever. We have the Least Worst Of, which, kind of like the Caius Greatest Hits, it has the hits of the band, but it also has a bunch of B-sides and unreleased stuff. So even though you may already have the studio albums, you may want to check this out. Some cool stuff on here. Continuing with Typo Negative, we have the 2007 version of Dead Again. I also have the Longbox version that was released by Nuclear Blast. However, this one has a different folding booklet type. Let's see, UFO, Strangers in the Night, one of my favorite live albums ever. This is the original before they added a whole bunch of extra tracks to it. If you're ever having a bad day and you need cheering up, just listen to this album. It'll pick you right up. It's really awesome. I'm serious, check it out. Let's see, Upper Lower Class, this was a punk band that I encountered when I was staying in Georgia on and off for 2 years. Vangelis Blade Runner Trilogy, as far as the official Blade Runner releases go, this is probably as expansive as they get. I know that there are big bootleg box sets that have more stuff, more sound effects, more background music, but this is pretty much as far as I care to go. I don't really care about owning a 7-disc box set for a movie. When I listen to this, I just feel like watching the movie, so there you go. See, we got some Van Halen. I know that I'm missing a couple of the Roth albums. And here we have the 2005 Forever Young editions of the Van Hagar albums. Now, I don't know why you would ever want to listen to OU812, but if you're going to listen to it, listen to this version, because the original one sounds thin, anemic, and low volume. The Collection 2 versions don't sound as good as these, I believe. Fuck, there's not much of a difference. Balance, there's a song called Crossing Over as a Japanese bonus track. And the main reason that I bought these was actually because of 5150. Dreams is my favorite Van Halen song. But as far as what stands the test of time better, the David Lee Roth era. Oh yeah. Velvet Acid Christ. Can't go wrong with Velvet Acid Christ. When you put the disc into the computer, you can download a demo from the CD portion of the album. Venom, 40 Years of Sodom. This was a $40 box set. In other words, a one-stop shop. Everything you need from Venom is right here, plus it has a DVD. Very nice. The 2005 version of Eternal Nightmare by Violence. This one also comes with a DVD. Pretty classic thrash album. However, my favorite Violence album is Oppressing the Masses, and this one also comes with Torture Tactics. Then we get into VNV Nation. This is volume 2 of their first album, which the first album's not particularly amazing anyway. They didn't find their voice until this one. I love this. And I really love this one. Empires. So good. After that, they've had some cool albums here and there. Judgment, I would say, is the last one that I think is amazing. And then after that, the albums are pretty good, but they all tend to kind of sound the same, to my ears anyway. Let's see, Voivod, Killing Technology. They were one of the first metal bands that I ever got to see. It was them and Napalm Death. Okay, we're on the second to last shelf. We have Vorbid. They are Norwegian progressive thrash metal. They were the first, if not one of the first bands to ask me to review their music. So they hold a soft spot in my heart for that. We have the Mind album, which I didn't particularly like very much. And then we had this one, which I liked a lot. So be sure to check this one out. And also the EP, even though it's only 4 songs, it's wonderful. Let's see, we have The Wake, Mast, a classic 90s goth, and then their comeback album, which is called Perfumes and Fripperies. It's really good. War Beast. This has some members from Rigor Mortis, so this has a lot of angst and balls. A lot of piss and vinegar on that album. Let's see, somebody sent me this Wasp Greatest Hits album. I fuck like a beast! Let's see, some Watain, some really cool Swedish black metal. A lot of people are pretty picky about their black metal, and some people don't really like this band. I saw them live and loved them. Really loved them. Let's see, The Agony and Ecstasy of Watain. So good. So good. Let's see, Wednesday 13. I found this a couple weeks after going to see Wednesday at Chapel of Bones in Raleigh, so that was convenient timing. We have Winter Sun. Winter Sun. Let's see, Wipers box set. I bought this because when I went to see Agalloch in Portland, they covered a Wipers song, Doomtown to be exact. So this is a 3 CD set. Great garage rock / punk from Portland. Really cool stuff. Let's see, Woods of Ypres, Against the Seasons, and Pursuit of the Sun, and Allure of the Earth. I need some more of their stuff. Let's see, Worm Ouroboros, a friend of mine got to play on that one. And we get to Wolves in the Throne Room. This first album was kind of a pain in the ass for me to find. Then, of course, we got this one. I really love Wolves. Wolves is so great. And they're a great live band, too. Okay, we're on the final shelf with just the CDs, so we have Wolves in the Throne Room. This EP was brand new when I went to see them live, and for some reason, they didn't play any songs from this. So it was weird. They had this brand new product that they weren't really promoting on stage. Let's see, we got Wumpscut, classic. We have Zymox. They changed their name from Clan of Zymox to just Zymox for a couple releases, and then changed their name back to Clan of Zymox. I know, kind of confusing. Let's see, X-Cops. This is an original CD from the 1990s, and I gotta say, the Slave Pit was quite creative. We need Dave now more than ever. Let's see, we also have Why Can't Tori Read? I don't know why I have this one. I mean, I like Tori Amos, but like, look at that album cover. I'm just gonna hold it here for a couple seconds so you can take it in. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Putting that away for good. Let's see. The Young Gods, the first album. Classic industrial. And then we have this one, which I like even more. And then we have the ZZ Top box set, the complete studio albums, 1970 to 1990. So everything you would ever want from ZZ Top is right here in this big box set. I think I paid about $36 for this one. And it has the original mixes of albums like Tres Hombres, because I know that they fucked with the albums and remixed and remastered them to death at some point. But these are all original mixes. So yeah, then we got 45 Grave, Sleep in Safety. This one was kind of aggravating to find, but I'm quite glad that I found it. This even has a cool little biography, I guess, on the back of it. Yeah, Return of the Living Dead. It's party time. And then I got a couple of sorted things, things that people have given me at shows when they see me. So we got this band. We got this one. Sometimes people send me these. We got this one. We have this one, which I was given in Portland. And the same people gave me one of these, the Grib Jenga people. And I have a loose copy of Ramones Mania. When I finished filming the CD towers, I got a couple more CDs. So, here are a couple that my guy Adam sent me. Thank you, Adam. A couple of these are Reaper Metal Production CDs. So we got the Vladimirs, which I believe is a horror punk band from Ohio. We have Wolfblood. We have Sawed Apart. Can't wait to check these all out. We have Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, their best of album. They were an influence on Skinny Puppy. And we have 2 Matson albums, one of which I've never listened to. I just wasn't really into him at the time. And this was the last one that I bought brand new for a long time, until One Assassination Under God Chapter 1 came out. I got this when it came out, and I hated it. I've been on a bit of a Marilyn Manson kick lately, as I saw him a couple weeks ago in Charlotte. And I've been going through the albums, and yep, guess this one's going to be the next logical step. Eat Me, Drink Me, I liked back in 2007. I hate it now. Just listened to it again a couple days ago. I'm curious to see where I sit on this one now. Maybe I'll hate it, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll hate this one, maybe I won't. Worst case scenario, I hate them both. I can trade them in at McKay's. And this is interesting. I didn't catalog this. I bought this. This was like a $3 CD. And I bought this because I wanted to use this case to replace the case on this one. So originally, the case that's on this one right now was on this. These are called Super Jewel boxes, and I hate them with a passion. They're very flimsy CD cases. They break very easily, and they're not easy to replace. And also getting the booklets out of these things is kind of a chore. So you can't really put booklets that have a lot of pages in them. This one seems to have like a folding thing. I didn't even catalog this one. I'm just going to trade this one back in at McKay's, because I bought this specifically so that way I could use it on this album, an album that I like and want to listen to. Thank you for being with me for so long, and grind on.